Let me... Okay, now that everyone can actually hear me in the audience. Because sometimes that happens.
We'll try that again.
Hi. No, that's all right. It's perfectly fine. Because I get a chance to say the script correctly. Greetings and welcome to channel. I can't even say the script correctly. Hi, I'm Jim. I'm playing a mechanic. We're in space. We're gonna go around and say hi to everyone. Hello, Alyssa.
Hello. My name is Alyssa. I have been suspiciously perky in real life at work all day. So if my character is a little salty tonight, it's just because she got a bunch of looted from her at the end of last session. So yeah, I play Gavesha, the space wizard. And we have a ship to chase.
Yes, there is that as well. Apparently, the thing is happening. Brittany, hello.
I'm Brittany. I use she, her pronouns, and I am playing Dr. Mav Wilo, anarchist psychiatrist, and Stitch.
Excellent, excellent. And now over to Josh. Hello.
I'm Josh, he, him. I'm playing your friendly, laconic, green bug-eyed alien pilot whose real name is a unpronounceable series of bird-like wailings, but goes by Quirk amongst you Terrans.
We poor Terrans. Excellent. Good. And now I am going to very gratefully hand things over to our GM, Brian. Hello.
Hello. I'm Brian, also he, him. And before we do a recap of the last session, I will remind everyone except for Jim that you have player advances to fill in. We can do that after this mission, or we could do it now and then start the mission if you already know what you want to add. Up to you.
I prefer to do it now, just in case it comes in handy.
Because maybe you want the new thing. Yeah, sure. Okay. Yes. You are about to do something. With some risk to it. So sure, I'm good with that. If everyone else is. And not everyone has to do it at the same time, by the way. If you don't know what you want to hold it until after, that's fine too. But yeah, if you know what you want to add to Quirk, feel free, and we can go ahead and get that filled in.
I'm not finding it easily in the book here. Is it just for PC advancement? Is it just
adding it's also on your character sheet on Roll20. That's probably the easiest way to find it. Because you've got the whole list of things, and you just check yes or no for which ones you want. Assuming that you're adding a new special ability. I think
is that the only option?
Well, actually, you can technically you could transfer those XP over to your abilities if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. So if you wanted to up one of your abilities and then add a dot on one of the skills below that, if you see what I mean, you could do that. You could do it that way. I think it's the same number of points. Let me double check.
Where's it on the character sheet? I thought it was too, but I'm not finding it.
Okay, hang on. Let me call that up, and I'll help you out. Let me see. Let's call it Quirk. In fact, let's look at Quirk. Okay, so on the character sheet, here we go. It is over on the left-hand side. You have to scroll up. Do you see the special abilities section where it says Ace Pilot and Exceed Specs are already checked?
Yes.
Okay, so if you want to choose a new one of those...
Oh, I was asking where it explains the leveling up.
Oh, sorry about that. No, that is not on the character sheet.
Okay,
the character sheet, it's explained in the way that I just explained it.
Gotcha.
So what you can do is, let's see, because you've already filled in your playbook advancement, let's see, that was 1, 2, 3, 4. How many does it take? Actually, it takes less to do. So you could also, for example, you've already got 2 XP on Insight.
Mm-hmm.
You have 0 XP on Prowess and 0 XP on Resolve. But you could bump one of those up if you wanted to add a dot to like anything under those. For example, if you filled up your Insight pool, we'd have to do the math to make sure that I give you the right number of XP at the end of it, because it takes more XP to get a playbook advance than it does to get a an ability advance. But I mean, it's not that hard to do the math. I can just make sure that you still know how much XP you have, if you see what I mean. So if you're interested in one of those, just tell me you want that, and then I'll make sure that by the end of this session, I've got you with the right number of XP left over.
I think I'm going to just do the special ability for now,
Okay.
which I'm going to add. I don't like the name of this, but I'm going to add Leaf on the Wind.
Oh yeah, that is. It brings back some bad memories. But
Why would you not like that? What's the matter?
And I just didn't care for the show that much. Oh,
okay. Yeah.
It hasn't aged
Pretty
particularly well. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. So let me make sure. So when you push yourself, you can spend +1 stress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you can spend 3 stress total, and so that gives you +1 effect and +1 die. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that's pretty cool, actually.
Between that and Exceed Specs, I see. It seems like Kirk kind of living on the edge.
I think we know what kind of pilot he is. Yeah. All right. That's shaping up interestingly. Okay. So that's yours. Does anyone else want to add anything new? And like I said, no pressure. Just remember that you have it to. Brittany, yes.
Speaking of pressure, I have added the special ability Under Pressure.
Okay.
Which adds a gambit to the pool whenever I or a crew member suffers level 2 or worse harm, which I imagine
yikes.
will happen eventually.
Yeah, you may be right. Gotcha. Okay, no problem. Speaking of gambits, I think I had the number of gambits. Let me double check what I put on the sheet, because I think I forgot to give you a gambit that you were supposed to have. Let me double check. Where's your gambits? Oh, actually, I did it right. You currently have 2 gambits. I had done the math incorrectly last time, and it looked like you only had 1. But if you click on the sheet, which I have now changed from Start Answer to Greg, you can see that you do have 2 gambits to spend right now. However, if someone suffers some harm, you may be picking up some more. But I had forgotten someone rolled a 6 on a risky roll, and I forgot to add the gambit for that a while back. So just letting you know, I've caught you up on gambits. I've caught you up on stash, because again, a thing happened that should give you stash, and I forgot to add it at the time. So eventually, I catch up, and everything looks right. So I think we're good. All right. So Alyssa, do you want?
Yes.
Gavesha's getting. Oh, cool. Okay, so everybody
Gavesha
gets cool
is
stuff.
taking kinetics so that the next time she's on the other side of a door, she can push the button.
That's the you already you actually chose that last time. You said you were getting that. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. So let's see. Whoops, that's the wrong sheet, but I see it now. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Gotcha. So now we know what everyone has. So now to do a quick recap of the oh, you could use kinetics on yourself too. That's cool. You could propel yourself briefly with superhuman speed, which is going to look cool at some point. Okay. All right. So what happened last time is you had been tracking an item that was in a ship that Gavesha had a connection to. So you were looking for that, and you had found it. And you had found the room it was in, and were on the verge of finding your way into the room to discover that someone was already in there. They detected your presence and freaked out, and basically just teleported a big chunk of the room that you were going to go into their ship, and then took off. At which point, we ended the last session with you having returned to your ship and being on the verge, I'm assuming on the verge of chasing this other ship. So that's where we are. And good news is, Gavesha, you still have a bead on that item, because distance at least is basically no object to you. Some other things could conceivably block it, but yeah, but it's not behind any of those right now. So so you know where it is and how fast it's going away from you, which is that way and very.
Okay.
And also, I don't think you necessarily have to be a student of we'll call it human nature for now, even though I think in a science fiction setting it's broader than that. Sentient nature, we'll call it that. But both Gavesha and Mav, for different reasons, they are terrified. Like they're acting scared, not just in a hurry.
So we're chasing them, right?
Absolutely.
Mav buckles up.
Okay, and Greg already has already turned on all of the green lights for pre-flight.
Mav through comms does say, "Seatbelts, everybody."
Now, can you remind me? Were we still on the? Please remind me of the word of that. The word this setting uses for that which came before anciently that we do not yet understand.
Precursor.
Are we, were we not still on the precursor, Hulk, or are we?
I thought we were.
Oh, if you wanted to have done stuff, I'm just letting you know that the trip from the ship, from the precursor ship back to your ship, is not going to be a big deal.
Okay,
but
cool,
if you wanted to have done some stuff on the precursor ship, I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's all I was worried about. Was really just that.
Yeah.
I already picked up some stuff from the precursor ship on my way to the room. I don't know.
And one of the things I do really like about this game is it makes no distinction between actions you took in the past and actions you're taking now, as it were. So you at any point can say, back when we were on when we were running out of that ship, I did this thing. And if it's an obvious, plausible thing, it doesn't cost you any stress. If it is, and then otherwise it will cost you 1 to 3 stress, depending on the level of implausibility.
Nice.
So just to let you know,
time is a flat circle.
Yeah. So if this were a TV show, we would begin the episode with all of you on the ship. But then, if you wanted to have done something, you just remember you did it. So, all right. So yeah, you are. The ship does look pretty cool when it takes off because the atmosphere here is sort of a bright ochre color. So you get these wisps and trails falling away from the ship as it takes off, and some of them follow you out of the atmosphere. So let's see. Right now, though, yes, they are going fast, but they're not going so fast that your ship sensors can't pick it up. And so you have 2 ways to track the ship. First off, just with your actual ship. And secondly, Gavesha, well, let me rephrase that. Gavesha, you can't track the ship, but you can track the thing. So if the thing were to leave the ship, that would be, but you see what I mean. But right now, your ship sensors and your Space Wizard sensors are lining up. They are, so yeah. So as a reminder, you are in the Rin system. And the Rin system is the system with Warren in it, which is the moon that orbits Aleph. Aleph is the planet you just took off from. They are heading towards the jump gate. The jump gate goes to... Oh, actually, there are actually 3 jump gates here in the Rin system. One of them heads back to the core worlds, or towards the core worlds. One of them heads to the Iota system, and the other one dumps out at the Holt system. They are going hell for leather towards the Rin Holt gate. They have also attracted the attention of the MacLeod guard ships that are patrolling the area, because they are not doing this in anything remotely stealthy, not even a little. They aren't being flat out chased by the Malclaiths, but the Malclaiths are definitely, like, those of you who know what to look for.
They're checking their radar guns, and they're like...
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
getting ready to go pull them over.
You can tell they're getting in position in case something... They're like, that could be a thing. Maybe we should go check that out. But they haven't yet done it.
Y'all, just so you're aware, too, I may have told that ship that we were going to explode a little bit ago. So if we get scanned, we may need to drop a bomb.
I'll do what I can to make the ship explode.
Ominous and comforting.
I was so happy. I was so happy for like 5 minutes. I was exploring the wreck. Okay, no, great, sure, no, fine, yeah, let's...
Don't worry, Coil, I won't let you get exploded.
Let's go back to those feelings of happiness. What were you feeling when you felt those happy thoughts?
You know, can we put a pin in that right now? I gotta go get down to the engine room and figure out how to simulate a freaking explosion.
Mav makes a note.
What kind of ship is our rivals there?
It is smaller than yours, and yours is designed for cargo. This one, under normal circumstances, isn't. Though, Quirk, you know your way around ships, and you know that you can retrofit anything to carry cargo if you take other stuff out. Mm-hmm. And you also have a pretty good idea of the volume of stuff they stuck in that ship, which means that this thing is probably mostly engines, cargo space, and cockpit.
It's like a blockade runner.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Does it look like it has weapons on it?
That is an excellent question. Let me see if you can figure that out from here. First off, I can tell you visually it does not look like it has weapons.
Can I scan it and see if it's got weapons or shield?
And that's going to be a roll. Yeah, that's a roll. What would that roll be? Let's look at that. What? Here's Quirk. Let's see what... that's going to be... Actually, you know what? Normally, like... I would say it's definitely an insight thing, but you're using Greg's sensors to help you out here.
Mm-hmm.
I think rig honestly makes sense.
Look.
If you want to do that. And like you're able to do that because you're in a ship that has good sensors.
Gotcha.
Like Greg doesn't have any like special sensors, but you've got regular sensors. So.
Right. All right. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not gonna do anything special.
Okay. Yeah. Just kind of do the regular 1D roll. Okay. That's cool. Let me flip over here.
What's my position?
Oh, this is going to be controlled standard because there's not really any risk to this.
Yeah.
Okay. Really, because there's no risk, this doesn't like mess anything up for you. However, you're not entirely without information on this. Okay. You don't detect any weapons, but you do find some unusual configurations. You were already expecting that because you knew that like they'd taken out a bunch of other stuff in order to fit whatever cargo's in there.
Right.
But right off just looking at the scans the way they are, you're not sure what's going on, but they have done a lot of stuff to this ship that it is it's the spaceship of Theseus at this point. Like,
right.
Is it they've changed so many things? Is it still the same ship that it used to be?
Can't get a solid scanner lock on the ship, but it's heavily modified. Now here's the thing: we've got a lot more mass. I bet we could ram it and disable it pretty quickly.
I will say you suspect Yeah, you suspect you're faster, unless they put like some kind of super afterburner in this thing.
We got more mass. We've got more thrust. I'm no physicist, but that tells me that we could do some damage to it since we decided not to opt for weapons on last time we were in dry dock.
Could we maybe try getting in their way first?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, then they'd be ramming us.
That's Coyle suggesting.
Yeah. No, I was just letting you know from the universe's point of view that is a possibility.
Thank
you are.
I mean, they'd be ramming us at that point.
Yeah.
That raises a question. Jump gates, how big are they? Could one ship conceivably block it, or is it like multi-lane?
Oh, yeah, it's big. So it is. Yeah. It is possible that they could get around you. Though, you know, if you manage to stop close enough to them, they are hauling ass towards this thing. So it's going to be difficult for them to change to do a micro change to their course to get around you if you were to show up like, you know, in a real close to them.
Ramming might still be might be a either way. No matter who's doing it, might not be best if we want to maintain the oxygen in here.
What else does Greg have? Let's see.
We don't happen to have anything that reminiscent of a beam that acts like a tractor of any kind.
No, you don't have that right now. You do not have afterburners. You have maxed out your hull though, so that does mean that your hull is tougher than that of most ships.
I bet we could knock it.
You've got hull to lose. Yeah.
I bet we could like sideswipe it and just knock him off course away from the gate. It's like a bang thing. Yeah.
I like that idea. All right.
I love that idea.
It sounds like it will draw a lot of attention.
It's an idea.
It is an idea, yes.
Well, it's either that or we let them go, or I'm willing to take ideas, although they're very fast.
They're going to Holt. What's at Holt? Do we know?
Yeah, you do. Let me give you a quick rundown on that. Okay, so the things at Holt are obscured because I don't have enough room on my computer. Sorry about that. The things at Holt are Holt's got some interesting stuff. Holt's got this one gate that people are still trying to activate.
That one.
Yeah. Holt is interesting, though, in that it is effectively a dead end, meaning that you can go from Rin to Holt and then from Holt back to Rin. Officially. Like, you guys know that you could conceivably do, you know, fancy tricks with your off the track jump gates, or not off the track jump points, but officially speaking, Holt is a dead end. You can't run away from. You can't keep going. It also has a few worlds on it, and let me see if I can give you a quick rundown on those, just to let you know what's there. Hang on. Here we go. Holt. Okay, so actually, so Coil, the thing that you know Holt best for is a place called Jerek's Junkyard. It's a free-floating mass of ships and parts connected via magnetism and cabling. And if you're looking for equipment, that's the place to go. You've spent a fair amount of time at that junkyard, both by us. There is the aforementioned Hantu Gate, which no one knows where it goes because they haven't been able to reopen it. Every now and then something comes through it in this direction, and it's always weird. There is an automated fueling platform out there that the Starcrafters Guild has set up. So it's one of those places. It's also effectively a space station. So it's one of those places that a lot of people meet that is effectively neutral ground. And then there's this other thing called Planet Omega, which is one of those places that many people have gone there. Many expeditions have gone to check it out, and none of them has returned. Then you've got the planet Mem, which is where the Memish come from. They are Xenos known to be particularly proficient in using the Way. You have Sanhandra, which is a tidally locked planet. It's got literally a day side and a night side that are permanent. And some odd things happen there, but it's also a really good place to hide because the dark side is has properties that make it difficult for people to find you on. And finally, there's a place called Voss, which is also called Glimmer. The surface of the planet is made of carbon compounds, which basically makes it look like one big crystal. And Vosian crystals are used for a lot of different things. For example, this setting's version of lightsabers, they use Vosian crystals.
I was going to say, that sounds
them.
like where you go to build yourself a fancy laser sword.
That's exactly what it is. So that's the quick rundown of, and if you need any more information on any of that. However, let me see. Yeah, you don't know enough about why these guys have this, although I will say, Coil, something about the junkyard might be triggering a couple of things in your memory.
I will have questions for when the time is appropriate.
It's entirely possible that the junkyard is one of the places you might, like, once you've looked over the stuff that you ran away from that precursor ship with, it's probably the place you would have gone to sell the stuff you didn't want to keep.
Yeah, I mean, it's I figure our consortium is probably got a presence there.
Almost certainly.
So yeah. And when I say our, I mean mine, but the ones not these other crew members, but
yeah, it did.
I have a couple of thoughts, but I want to hold and allow other people to speak because I don't wish to overtake.
Gotcha.
Well, we can ram them here, and we'll draw attention, as has been pointed out accurately, or we could follow them through the gate to Holt and ram them there. Or, follow wherever they go.
Or whatever, yeah. Yeah, they're going to come out at Holt, so there's no doubt about that.
Would it be easier to get them in Holt than it would be to get them here in front of the MacLeod?
Well, we won't have the houses chasing us.
That's a good point.
As much as I would love to have some collateral involving a MacLeod ship, I think that our lives would be a little bit easier if we did not.
All right, then I'm going to stick on them and follow them through the gate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the only idea that I have is perhaps about as dangerous as ramming them.
Leaping over?
Possibly marginally less so. Well, it involves okay. Like, so it involves using the God damn it, proper nouns. It involves using proper nouns. It involves using the off the grid gates.
Oh yeah.
And, so
to jump ahead of them?
Well, possibly, but then also
those gates are weird. We might get there like 3 years ahead of them.
Well, yeah, that's possible.
Yeah, it is unpredictable.
Lots of time to plan.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know if I'd be comfortable making these calculations entirely, but strangely, as has been pointed out to me multiple times, I haven't been wrong yet. But there might be a way if we wanted to kind of... Okay, so...
Well, we won't know where... If we follow them through this gate, we'll come out the same spot they do.
Yeah, that's... Yeah. And that's safer. That's probably going to be much safer.
Well, less chance of losing them.
Yeah, the only other... Yeah.
I do also have a bit of a radical suggestion.
Oh, I like that.
Just something that we haven't tried yet. We could ask nicely.
Will we be
telling... No, seriously, what's your idea?
I mean, they have communications. We have communications.
This is true.
That's probably safer.
All right.
That's probably safer than like punching through from like one of the off the grid places into their hyperlane.
And I'm not saying we don't do that because I love that. I love that. Your input is very valid. Love it.
I mean, if we try to talk to them and they freak out and try to run away even faster, we can always try that next.
And like honestly, I would just feel better about ramming them with our ship if they were rude. So I'm kind of hoping that they give us a good reason to ram them with the ship because it sounds great. It sounds fun. I'm really excited for that. And Mav is attaching another seatbelt to herself as she says this.
Well, yeah, it's just. Yeah, I mean, like I'd rather not try the. Yeah, I mean, ramming them would be one thing, and then the thing that I was thinking of doing probably it involves like setting up. Basically punching through from one lane into another and setting up a quantum wave, and I don't know if that can get a little weird and unpredictable, especially in that kind of space. So
I have an idea, but
I love it when we break physics. I do.
Yeah. I mean, we're on the ship to do it with.
Me too.
We're very aware of that, Greg.
Physics are made to be broken, just like that coffee mug says that I bought you last year.
That's right.
I love that you bought the AI coffee mug.
I bought Coil the coffee mug.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yes. No. I appreciate.
Well, did Greg steal your coffee mug, Coil?
I think Greg just appreciates it. I think that's kind of at a distance.
It is on my shelf.
Greg has commented on how much they like the coffee mug.
They have shared custody of the coffee mug.
I feel like it makes Greg comfortable for me to keep it there on the shelf. Anyway, yeah. We can try talking to them. Just so long as I'm just kind of curious. I mean, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see what Mav. I'd love to see what your follow up to "We're going to explode" is. As the next phase of the negotiation, because it's probably going to knock my socks off. Absolutely.
But not in an explosion.
Here's the tactical question: do you want to talk with them before or after we go through Yon Gate?
Let's say after, just in case. Again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but like MacLeod, they like to eavesdrop. They don't respect.
Yeah, they're coming up really quick too. It looks like.
Okay, yeah, I feel like following is not a bad idea. Yeah.
All right, well, right on their tail through that gate, and I'll start opening some hailing channels.
Mav does want to reiterate the fact that they are having engine troubles or something to that MacLeod ship before they go through, in case we wind up having there's a MacLeod ship issue that follows them.
Okay. The passage through the gate. Your passage through the gate actually does not raise any eyebrows, partly because you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. If you'll recall, Greg actually did degrade the reactor shielding to help you sell the "we're going to explode" thing. So he just does that again.
Sorry, Coil.
And
just add it to the list. Stuff to go back and do again. That's okay.
So you basically just get the official, and you can tell it's boilerplate. You get the official message. Have that looked at when you reach your destination, kind of thing.
Didn't pass a missions test.
Yeah, exactly. Just in this case, the emissions are radioactive. You're now. So all of that is working in your favor. The other thing that's working in your favor is that you're not privy to the communications between the ship you're chasing, and in this case, it would be MacLeod that would be monitoring this particular jump gate, and because it's so close to the seat of governmental power. So they are. You can't hear what they're saying, but you can tell that whatever they're saying is not going over really well, and that they just go ahead and sprint for the gate anyway. They managed to outrun the couple of MacLeod cruisers that were heading for them. At which point, the MacLeod ships just peel off because technically they have jurisdiction over in the other system, but whatever infraction this ship has incurred is not enough for them to leave their post.
It's almost time for their shift change, and they can't be bothered.
Stuff like that.
Someone else's problem.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, somebody did a bad thing before you did your good thing, which actually worked in your favor. Which means you do come out obviously behind them, but you okay, now this is interesting. You still know, like, Gavesha, you still know where the thing is. It's interesting that the connection doesn't feel less strong, but it does feel a little more tenuous, if you see what I mean. It's like you've got the string really taut between you and it, so you know what's going on. But the farther away it gets, it's more likely that something could break it.
Okay. Yeah.
But you still know where they are, which means that you sense them in the Holt system. Which means once you guys get into the Holt system, Gavesha, you can tell Quirk where to point the sensors to speed up the where the hell are they part of this. So having done that, what do you do when you get into the Holt system?
I assume we're hello.
Yeah, try and catch up to the ship and get on the hills.
Honestly, as soon as you go in, you're in hailing range, because hailing range is pretty far. So all right. So who does the hailing, and what do you say?
I'm expecting Mav to do the hailing because Mav broke it. I expect Mav to fix it.
If anybody else thinks that they would be better at hailing, I will give up.
I think you've got the most points in people skills.
And that's how you know this game is fiction.
Yeah.
You have taken ownership of the problem.
That's like when I play a dexterous character. So yeah, fair enough. Okay. So yeah, you've established the link. In fact, that part was easy. Mm-hmm. They aren't blocking communications. So you've established the link. You are reasonably certain they can hear you. So you've got the you are now talking to their ship.
Mav, in just the best sort of politician way she can, says, "Hello."
They fly faster. Nothing you can't keep up with, Quirk, but they do fly faster.
Mav says, Wait. No, come back. That's not what this is about. I think that we might have similar interests in that we were interested in the same thing. In a friendly way. This is not. I'm very good with people. This is not me threatening you. I know that the way that we're chasing you might seem a little bit threatening, but it's just because you continue to run. That also sounded bad. This people pay me an absurd amount of money an hour to speak to me, and this is just going fantastically. How are you?
We're fine here. Shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's fine. We're fine.
You're doing great, Doc.
And then the voice you get back says, "How did you find us?"
Quite easily. I would love to discuss that over tea. Do you drink tea, coffee? I'm more of a coffee woman myself. Tea, coffee. We have whatever it is that Quirk drinks. What you got there?
And then there is silence for a few moments, and then, what is your guild designation?
Guild designation. Our guild designation is unaffiliated. Unaffiliated. We, I see that.
You hear a voice in the background yelling something, and then the person talking to you cuts off the mic.
So, fuck them MacLeods, huh?
And then he comes back on. Who are you? Why are you following us?
Yes, that was quite rude of me. So my name is Dr. Mav Wilo. Us and our ship here are, we were hired to pick up a thing, and that thing, by some trick of physics, which I would love to discuss, is no longer there. So
Yes.
I think that we have some. We too have something that occasionally breaks physics, and we would just have so much in common to discuss over that beverage. What did you say your name was?
I did not. We have many things. We have many things. We have.
Oh, that's lovely.
We have things we still have to sort out. Which thing are you looking for? Perhaps it is not our thing, and we can come to some understanding.
I would love an understanding. The thing was previously on the planet whose name I've forgotten.
Oh, that was Olive.
No, in character. Olive. Yes, I remembered that with my own human brain.
You did.
All of my brain cells are working overtime.
No.
It was on Olive, and then it was not on Olive. It should be the most recent thing in your inventory, unless...
We have several dozen new things.
Well, then you would not miss just one. If you could just pop the room that you took back.
No, that is not possible. I mean, physically, not possible.
I mean, neither
I'm
is
not
physically...
threatening you, yet.
I mean, physically not possible. We watched you disappear it off of a planet.
Yes, we can't put it back. We're not wizards.
Okay. We do have one of those, too.
What?
Yeah, would you like to meet her? She's lovely.
No,
would just pull
that is
over.
the last thing I want. What are you talking about?
Are wizards not friendly? In your experience?
Not in my experience.
Oh, ours is quite lovely. She's very kind and gentle, and I'm sure is just knitting you a sweater as we speak.
That's the thing you say when someone tortures you.
You know what? I think that we should really just delve into that. Did someone torture you?
Yes.
Is that something that you would like to open up about?
What is this, a threat?
No, quite the opposite. I mean, the threat of a good time, maybe.
Wait a minute. What?
It's not a threat. See, we are...
Because it's sort of coming off as a threat.
And see, the things that I was saying earlier, I really could feel them coming off as a threat, but me asking you how you feel and to discuss, I mean, I understand not quite immediately wanting to open up about your deep and personal history of trauma is what it sounds like. I mean...
Yes, to someone who I do not know that is chasing me and asking me for things that I have legitimately salvaged.
See, I just have
so
questions
Coil,
about
the words
salvage.
legitimately salvaged ping something.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a question, if I may.
Please, it's on speaker.
Well, no. I have an out of character question, and then whether or not Coil says anything will depend on the answer to the out of character question.
Understood.
You're on speaker with Jim.
Hi, I'm contacting you from outside the game to ask you. Don't be alarmed because this is just one of the standard breaches in space time. No, so the thing that I wanted to ask about is to do with is there. So what Coil is wondering actually at this point has to do with the rules of the Junkers Consortium that he's with, or any other. I don't know if it's the Junkers Consortium or if there's another thing.
Okay, so
but
this
salvage
is actually
rules basically, and what the rules are
and,
when
and there are general salvage rules. So
when
that's
there
the
is
thing.
more than one party there to salvage a thing.
Okay, so there are multiple groups of scavengers around the sector, of course.
Yeah.
One of the best known ones is called the Wreckers, and they are exactly what they sound like. One of the things they're known for is being able to show up just after a major battle has happened, so they can be the first ones to get stuff. They are sometimes accused of getting those factions to fight each other so the battle would happen in the first place, but those are scurrilous rumors, of course.
Yes, of course.
Then there's also the Guild of Engineers, which is the capital G Guild of Engineers. They are hegemony sanctioned, and honestly, in some ways, they kind of do the same things that the Wreckers do, but also, they are known for building their own stuff and inventing things, stuff like that. The Guild of Engineers really hates the Wreckers. They are always at cross purposes. Now, the Junkers Consortium that you were with, I get the sense that it was different from the Wreckers. Is that right, or do you want to have also been part of the Wreckers?
I don't know. That's the thing, is because I mean, the Wreckers. I feel like the Wreckers might be a bit more combative than
they are, shall we say, proactive.
Yeah, Coil I don't think would have been part of the Wreckers necessarily.
Given Coil's background, that doesn't seem like his group of people, does it? Yeah, okay.
No.
Good point. Okay, all right.
I'm just thinking, yes, who would a very curious and unknowing space Mormon join? So, I mean, it's possible, but probably not. But also, I don't know if the Guild of Engineers would be that either, because it's hard to say.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
now I will tell you, these guys are. I don't think I do need to tell you that, but I'll go ahead and state it out loud. These guys are not acting like Guild of Engineers.
Okay.
The legitimate salvage thing, though, does mean that they are at least going to try to fake the fact that they got this stuff legally, or it's entirely possible that they're getting it legally. So. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we never came up with a name for the consortium that I'm with, or it's one of the, or it's another one that we haven't found out yet. But it's the one I have an obligation to.
Yeah.
So that being the case, it occurs to me that we can perhaps ding them on something. So.
Oh, that's a fair point. Okay.
Because there is. Because of the whole rule, they brought up rules of salvage, so that means that there's they're going to try to play by these rules. So,
So you're saying I should be threatening them?
not necessarily.
Well,
I bet I can take out their drives with the one good quick ram. Disable them.
I'm gonna. Yeah, so I'm just going
I
to
can take out their drives without ramming them.
I'm gonna send Mav briefly just a little text that will say that what's the what is the term I'm looking for? I don't know if arbitration is the right term because that implies a third party, but it's like, and I'm not going to use the word parlay because that word has been beaten to death by Disney. So,
It's still a perfectly cromulent word.
I understand, and I appreciate its cromulence, but I
get it.
I'm just going to just basically just sort of text to Mev. We could invoke the right of conference.
Mav replies, "New phone, who dis?"
Hey, it's Coil.
She does say, does the right of checks the phone again. What was that word again? Conference?
Yes. Yeah.
Let's have a conference.
Officially?
Yes, since this is legitimate salvage, as you so officially told us. With it being legitimate, there's nothing to worry about. Still not a threat.
Yes, you're right. As long as everything is legitimate, absolutely no one involved has anything to worry about.
Yes, exactly. Everything is legitimate, and none of us have anything to worry about.
Everything is legitimate, and none of us have anything to worry about.
Everything is legitimate, and none of us have anything to worry about. Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Ard. Everything is legitimate, and none of us have anything to worry about. My associate is coming around to our point of view.
That sounds legitimate. And
Fine. I will send you coordinates for the meeting.
Perfect. Wonderful. None of us have anything to worry about. Thank you.
Everything is legitimate. Click.
Mab says, "Okay, crew, I've got good news and bad news."
Oh boy.
The good news is that they're going to meet with us. The bad news is that we have to hide some shit.
Where are we going to meet him?
Okay, so the what they send you is actually coordinates that are, one moment, let me give you the actual information. It's well, actually, you don't know what's there right now, but it's like over in like one edge of the Jirex junkyard that we mentioned earlier. And Coil, you know that there are many hulks of ships out there, some of which have atmosphere, some of which don't.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are many places there. Just so you folks are aware, there, from the sound of things, I kind of have a feeling they're going to have just as much to hide as we will. I mean, I don't know this for sure, but these people sound like wreckers. they kind of have this reputation for getting other ships into fights so they can then go and salvage afterward. It's they're a real piece of work. Don't know if it's them, but the MO is starting to click a little bit.
And so the plan is to go down there, meet them at the spot they designated, and try and talk them into giving us the data module.
Does our ship have a shuttle?
That's a good question. I don't think
I think
it
that's an
officially has a
option we
shuttle.
did not get.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I think that is, if it's on the list of things you have to spend points for and you don't have it, I don't think you have it, but let me double check.
I mean, we could also theoretically just have someone hang on to a drone and hold their breath for a little bit to...
I mean, you could. Here we are. Yeah, sure enough. You actually have to. You have to spend a point for shuttle. So technically, you do not have a shuttle.
So unless we want,
that doesn't mean it's impossible to get to the place. There's all kinds of ways you could get to the place. For that matter, actually, now that you're getting close, you see that it is in fact the remains of a particularly large ship, one which you can dock with.
So I think if we have someone ready to go back to Plan A, which was ramming, that we would at least go in there with a little bit of leverage, as it were.
I hear what you're saying. So you want me to stay on the ship in a holding pattern with our hull aimed at theirs. Got it.
Unless you want to come talk. I mean, if you want to come talk, I'm not gonna
not much
deprive you of that opportunity.
I'm not much for chit chat.
I don't think they are either.
It's going to be a fascinating conversation.
Truly is. I think Mav would want at least probably Gavesha to come with, because they did not seem too pleased at the idea of her.
I like that. It's like bringing a really big person with you. It's like a large armed person, except it's it's a small robe wearing person.
Here's an idea. While you're talking, we could sneak on their ship and steal it.
That's also a good idea.
Greg says, "But who would fly me? Oh wait, I can fly me."
I mean, I'm not good at sneaking.
I'm good at flying.
Not good at sneaking much either.
I'm not good at sneaking, but I'm supposed to be good at talking, and we all saw how that worked, so it might work well the opposite.
What a great crew for a crime game. No one's good at sneaking.
I can hurt them in other ways, okay?
I'm very,
Fair enough.
very minorly. I have skulk. I have one level. That's all I have.
I will point out that both of you also have rig, though, which is
Rig?
pretty good
I can
at
do.
getting at getting into a ship. So
That's true.
Recoil, you and I were going to sneak on that ship while they're talking.
I mean, wouldn't they just leave somebody else on their ship to prevent that?
Probably.
We have drones. I think. Do we still have drones?
got-
How many
well,
drones
you
did
have
we
drones.
lose?
Yeah.
I
Specifically,
have,
Coil has drones. Yeah.
I have I have my my AI drone left.
Yeah.
My other drone was lost on that planet.
It was.
And but I do
However,
still have
you
Spencer,
still have,
who is.
you have access to non-AI drones
Oh, okay.
as well. That's,
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's possible if we want to. I mean, what do we want to just like send in a drone, try to disguise it or something, and
Maybe.
Put a
I
hat on
mean,
it or something?
another important question. Are we being... I mean, are we... I suggested meeting with them, and I'm glad that it's worked this far. It looks good for my record, but it's hard for me to ask because you know how I hate being dishonest. That's a lie. Do we want to just disable some shit while they're stopped, or do we actually want to try to talk this out?
Well, I mean, under the right of conference, we're not supposed to do that. But at the same time, like, you know,
member of your guild.
It's like, I mean, if these folks are wreckers, I don't think they would.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd hesitate before trying to do the same kind of thing.
Compromise is at the heart of any healthy relationship. So I think compromise should be that we have a code word for when we stop being nice.
Okay, so out of character, what is your goal? Like, ultimately, what is your goal? Do you really want to try to talk them out of this, or do you want to try to steal their shit? So, because we can honestly, we could treat this the same way we treat a job and figure out what your goal is, and then everything else just basically is aimed at that. If you see what I mean.
Either way. Yeah, I can go either way.
Ultimately, we want to get the data core, right?
Yeah,
That's what we were assigned to get.
Yeah. So really, the question is, by what means do you?
By what means through negotiation?
Do you want to try to get
theft?
the data core? Honestly, that's it. Yeah.
I'd be happy doing it either way. The only idea I have come up with for theft is very out there, and I don't know if it would be reasonable for my character to think of it. But it might be. I could possibly justify it.
I mean, we're bad.
I have no idea if we could do it or not. Also,
let's hear it then. We have to hear it.
Oh God. Okay, so I mean, I'd even probably sort of as a backup, I'd almost leaning a little toward negotiation, but like if we wanted to do theft, it's just sort of this strange. It's weird, right? Because talking about it out of character means we don't get the magic that happens in game. But at the same time, so like, there's a chance Goyle might be thinking of trying to figure out a way to work out a thing with Greg. The problem is that if this were a thing that were worked out consistently, it would be horribly overpowered. But be like, okay, just sort of trying to work out a thing with Greg where like he runs down to deck 10, where deck 14 appears.
Right.
And figure out a way to adjust things in the field so that you can open up a way instead of to deck 14 to the hull of their ship.
Oh.
Well,
okay.
You know, I could project myself into their ship just as easily as I projected it into that other one.
That's true. That would be helpful. And I will tell you, it's very easy to come up with a reason in game why that wouldn't work every time, because it's clearly unpredictable. Meaning, like, whenever you try that, it's just going to be some kind of a roll, and if you get a particularly good result, it works, and if you don't, something happens, and we'll figure it out at that point. Like, whatever you do, something's going to happen. It's just whether the thing you want actually occurs.
And also now that Alyssa has mentioned it, the idea of Gavesha being able to go over there and mess something up just astrally also is an interesting idea.
That's true.
If need be.
That could help all kinds of ways.
Should put that top of the list, actually.
Yeah, that could be a thing.
So my inclination, and I'll just give my inclination, and then I will shut up and find, and we can see what people want to do. My inclination is to try negotiation, and then if that doesn't work, to then do some sort of sudden theft thing to them.
I got you.
That is my thought. What is everyone else's thought?
I'm down with that. I mean, it'd be novel if we could just talk our way into it.
Yeah, honestly, not so bad. So is it? So what I'm hearing, and anyone else who objects to this, correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like Plan A is legitimately go try to talk them out of it. But while that's happening, the people that are not doing the talking are planning for Plan B.
Yes.
Okay, that works. All right. So the good news is it takes a little while to get to the meeting place. Because first off, you're in system and you have to fly pretty slow, and secondly, you have to fly around a lot of junked spaceships. So it's it's challenging, but not a big deal for a pilot as good as Quirk. But even a pilot as good as Quirk, you have to pay attention because there's a lot of stuff floating around here and a lot of weird magnetic fields. And just stuff like that. So you just have to watch watch where you're going. Yeah, you are given a location on the ship, which you can tell from here does have atmosphere. You are given a location on the ship to meet in person. And you also know exactly where their ship is docked, which is all of the docking. This ship used to actually have a different setup, but they have sort of created this as a meeting space, honestly, for exactly this kind of thing, which means that they have retrofitted a bunch of external docking ports onto this. So you just, connect your ships, do the airlock thing, and then walk down a tube, and then it opens up onto the other ship. So you are 3 berths down from their ship, as far as which means you're pretty close, as these things go. Easiest way, obviously, to get from your ship to their ship would be outside. It's the only straight line, but it's not the only way. You could also go in and then try to get through the airlock to their ship too, FYI. So those are the 2 ways. And that's pretty much what you got. And the meeting place is not. It's several hundred meters away from where the docking area is. So who is going to the meeting room? Yeah, obviously Mav.
Well, I believe my presence was requested.
And this does not preclude you from also projecting onto their ship. So that's true.
I think I'm staying on the ship in case we need to get into hot pursuit.
That might not be a bad idea. All right, so that leaves Coil. What are you up to exactly? And we don't necessarily need to know. We can, if it... answer that if you have an idea, but I just realized, and honestly, Coil and Quirk both, you don't have to tell me exactly where you are. If it is advantageous for you to be in another place that makes sense, that's where you are, if you see what I mean. But right now, it does make a lot of sense for Quirk to be on the ship.
Yeah. I am in both places simultaneously.
Yeah, you're Schrodinger's characters.
Yeah. So. No, the thing, because the thing being that it's on the one hand, I could see my being there as being at least minorly useful for recognizing thing A or thing B with regards to the whole salvage situation.
Your drone friend with us?
Oh, I could do that. I could just send Spencer.
Not a bad idea.
And that could work. So
okay.
Yeah, then I would so Spencer could go, and then I could stay on the ship and then be prepared. And I don't know what I would do specifically on the ship, but I would be there in case I need to do a trick of some kind to basically help us with whatever we end up doing.
And I will say, we've established you guys have EVA suits. So I will say, if for some reason it makes sense for you to have been outside the ship the whole time, then that's where you were. We can work with that. This isn't that kind of game. More to the point, I'm not that kind of game master. All right, so do we want to take a short break and then we'll come back with the beginning of the meeting? All right,
I would be great with that. That would be great. Awesome. Okay, we shall head breakward, and we shall return once we have figured this whole thing out. We'll be back in a few minutes. See you shortly.
Thank you.
we have returned. And I have forgotten everything that is happening, but I'm sure it's quite interesting.
That's fine. It's my job to remember. So, the thing that is happening, and again, correct me if I'm remembering this wrong, is that currently Mav and Gavesha are in a room with 2 other people, meeting about this thing.
Well,
and
Spencer. Spencer is also with them.
Spencer is floating along behind them, right?
Yes.
Spencer floats, right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's yeah. So,
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, they're AI, and they do not speak, but they are good at repairing things if need be, and also, of course, communicating stuff.
Yes, and recording, which might come in handy later.
Yes. It is my genius pet, basically.
Yes,
that I took.
it is. Yeah. It's actually really cool. Okay, and then Quirk and Coil are right now. We'll assume on the ship, but maybe there will be some sort of surprise twist, and they weren't on the ship.
Or ship adjacent.
Yeah. but I will say, Quirk and Coil are not in this room. So
we are shipping Quirk and Coil. Got it.
Yeah. It was bound to happen.
What?
Yeah.
It's going to happen sooner or later.
Yeah.
What?
It's the internet. These things happen.
Never say things
rivals phase.
Never say something you don't want to see fan art for.
That is actually true.
I haven't.
Because it already exists.
Oh,
so
that being said, I too ship Quirk and Coil.
Ugh, humans.
It was only a matter of time before the game got Rule 34, and now here it is.
Just throwing DNA at each other. Ugh.
I know, yuck.
This is a very messy process.
It went from roll 20
I just
to
release
roll
a cloud
34.
of spores into a designated nutrient pool and go about my business.
I mean, where do you even keep your egg sacs? You guys are weird. So, the 2 people that you are meeting in this room are at their base. They are human, but they have a lot of stuff on them. So Gavesha, the one that you saw in the ship, is the one on the left, and they are they're average height. They are dark-skinned, completely bald. First thing you notice, though, is that their left eye has been replaced by a bright blue glowing circle that is around a well of non-reflective black void.
Okay.
They also have some other things, like their right hand. At first, it looks like they're wearing just a metallic glove, but you realize it's just been replaced by a prosthetic. But it's a prosthetic that it looks more like silver lame than it does a mechanical thing.
Okay.
Those are the 2 most obvious things, and then you suspect from what you observed earlier, there's more going on. The other person is significantly taller, maybe about 6.5 feet tall, and pale-skinned, similarly pale hair. And he's the one that talks first. And it is obvious to you that he's the one you've been talking to this whole time anyway. Yeah, Coil, you can hear what's going on. So you know what's coming. And what he says starts off pretty formally. He says, "I am Gorix. This is Ard. We are meeting here under the rite of conference." And there's a little question at the end, as if he's expecting a confirmation.
Mav, and before they left, Mav did change into her like doctor garb.
Got it. Okay.
She still looks a little, scruffy.
Yeah.
But is at least looking a little bit more professional and says, yes, I'm Dr. Mav Wylow. And then she allows Gavesha to introduce herself.
Yeah. So, Gavesha is probably not wearing her creepy wizard robes.
Okay.
She usually wears like leggings and a bomber jacket.
Got it. That's true. Yeah.
You look friendly.
Yeah, you're not dressed for church, as it were.
No.
So I got you. Okay. So so how do you introduce yourself?
I say, hi, I'm Iris.
We too are meeting under conference. And she does not say it like a question.
Right. You see the shorter guy's shoulders visibly relax when you confirm it. And then Goric says, "Good. Let's have a seat and talk this out." Let's actually, I think everyone would recognize this. When he moves to sit, you realize that he's wearing he has a long coat, like a duster basically over it, but underneath his coveralls are very old, like they are an outdated version of the Guild of Engineers coveralls, meaning they changed those uniforms. Like, this is like uniform before last. And they look old. They look old but well cared for. But I mean, they look old. They look worn. The patches on them are faded. There's a couple of burn holes in the collar, stuff like that.
Well, vintage is back in style.
Yeah. And so the three of you that can see this recognize that. Coil probably recognizes it immediately. Yeah. And he says, "What exactly is it that you want? We have, as I stated, many things."
Well, we had and I'm gonna lie a little bit.
Sure.
She goes, well, we had a legitimate salvage claim staked on the contents of a certain part of a ship on Olive, that as we were entering somehow disappeared and went to your ship. So if we could just...
He looks particularly proud just for a second and then goes back to looking businesslike.
So in order to avoid, getting anyone else involved, going through anything else that could show any possible discrepancies in legality of anything, we would just like to get that room and be on our way, and no one has to look deeper into anything in a legal fashion. Please.
You're right. We don't want anyone else involved.
That would just make things complicated.
Not that it's all perfectly legitimate and we don't have anything to worry about, but
Of course. But we got the room first, but if you had contracts for something specific, we could talk about trading you for that.
We did have a contract for something specific, right?
Oh, yeah, you actually did.
Yeah.
Just the one thing.
Yeah, you legitimately do. What's
We
funny is you're
legitimately
not
do.
actually lying about that part of it.
Yeah.
Mav looks back at Gavesha like shocked that they actually do have something legitimate in this case. Like she
Like,
almost
that's
doesn't.
you.
She
We don't
almost
usually
doesn't
operate
know.
that way, right?
She almost doesn't know what she's to do. She's almost like, do I shoot him? Like,
Yeah, do you want to see our paperwork?
yes, we not actually. I mean, we do. And this is what we do all the time. It's Not a surprise at all, as this is all totally above board and what we do all the time as a perfectly legal operation.
Yes. All right, what is it?
It was the precursor. It was like a piece of precursor tech, right? We had a
It's
description.
the data core,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, it was a data
Yeah.
core. It was
One
a specific
particular
data core.
core.
I mean, just because pirates are the ones that asked you to do it doesn't mean it's not legitimate. Yeah. Yeah, it was a specific data core. You've got the specs. You've got everything you need to identify it. Also, Gavesha, it's still on their ship.
Mm-hmm.
FYI, just letting you know.
Good to know.
I keep forgetting. You know where it is at all times. I'll just remind you. It's still on the ship.
And Mav shares that spec information.
Okay.
So, it's this data core. Here's the information.
He says, "Ard, call up the." Oh, that was fast. He looks at just a data pad, and he says, "Yes, one of the items is matching that. All right. So that is officially yours, and we will give it to you.
Appreciated.
But since we are talking in a friendly manner,
Of course.
Uh-oh.
what else could we do for each other? You seem to be in a similar business to ours, and I do not wish to pass up an opportunity to sweeten the deal for both of us, you see. And you don't have to roll for this. You sense he's legitimate about this. You don't think he's being like too cagey. He's just like, hey, maybe they have some cool stuff.
Mav
Yeah.
pats herself down and goes, I have drugs.
No, I mean, what else do you have
They're really good drugs.
from the derelict ship that perhaps
Um,
we could trade? People have different things they want. So speaking of the ship, Quirk, actually both of you hear this. But Quirk, you're the one Greg's talking to. We're being scanned.
We set up a counter resonance field to block it.
That would be great.
Good. We should do that thing.
Yes,
Also, then find out who's scanning us.
I can do that. It's the ship we've been chasing. Coil,
Yes.
Yes.
I'll send you a shopping list of things to get so we can set up a resonance field in the future to keep from being scanned.
Right. I assume. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna. Yeah. I'm just basically. My assumption is we don't have time. Wait a minute.
Yes.
I was like, oh, okay. Okay. I wonder if we can use the signal jammer.
That's actually possible. You want to do a rig roll for that? Yeah.
Like, one sec.
Yep.
Yeah, sure. It's all gonna fall apart because this is where the negotiation's going to fall apart.
I don't know. They started it.
That's fair. All right, I'm. Let's see. I have 3 in rig. I don't think I'm going to spend anything for this. I think I'm just going to roll.
3 dice is pretty good. Now that I've said that, yeah.
I mean,
Famous
to be
last words.
fair, I have scanned their ship.
Yeah.
That's true. Technically, the ship is also being scanned. Their ship's being scanned in a different way.
Okay. Risky, controlled, desperate.
Let's see. This will be risky standard because
Okay.
there could be some blowback on this if it goes poorly.
And 0 bonus and 2, 4, 4.
Okay, so it's a partial success. So what that means is interesting. Okay, what that means is you've successfully used the signal jammer to keep them from scanning your ship, but they know that you are actively opposing them, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like, oh, it's hard to scan. They're like, whoa, they discovered we were scanning them and did a thing.
I'm fine with that.
To be fair, that's like the equivalent of if you look outside and you see someone standing in your driveway looking in your window, you close the blinds.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say that that's an aggressive move.
Yeah. And also, I'm not. I mean, this is a signal jammer, so it's not. It's probably not as subtle as what we would need to be looking.
Yeah, you're using it. Yeah, you're using it kind of off book, as it were. Anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, I mean, because really, what it means is they know you have a signal jammer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really what it is. Also, this does give you some more information. This means that they do have someone still on their ship. Because in order to do a scan of this nature, you have to have a person at a station to do it. It's not just they couldn't have done it like, say, with a data pad from their ship while sitting in a from the meeting room while they're sitting in a different place.
I think for the sake of potential foreshadowing, we saw Coyle wheel over from where he was working with his hacking rig.
Yeah.
To come over to do this.
Sounds
so
good. I like it. All right. Yeah. Okay. I have another idea, but we'll get to that one in a minute. And then so back to the negotiation room. At this point. At this point, if you want to push this in a certain way, it'll require some kind of roll. Because right now, but really, he's not doing anything terribly deceptive or nefarious. He's legitimately saying, hey, do we maybe have some other cool stuff that we could trade? That's honestly where he is on this. So.
Right.
I mean,
I don't.
Do we
know if we inventoried Coyle's secret stash of stuff yet?
Coyle has not had the opportunity to determine exactly what he has, unfortunately.
Do we even know he has stuff?
Yeah, you saw him come back with stuff. That was impossible to hide.
Fair.
Pockets were empty when went into duct. Pockets were full when came out of duct.
A, you saw Coyle with more stuff than he went in with. B, you've met Coyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know he has stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Mav asks the droid. Spencer is the droid's name?
Yeah.
Mav asks Spencer, I don't know, do we?
Okay.
Assuming that Coyle.
Yeah, that goes back to Coyle, right.
I mean, it depends on if they want. I'm trying to think if they might have some cool stuff we could trade for, so it might be worth it. But see, the trouble is if things slip into talking about this ship itself and all the stuff that's on this ship, then that's where it's gonna get Lancy. And it's like I'll just sort of respond. To for a text, I guess, that will come through Spencer. Will be haven't had a chance to inventory everything yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
There is the thing that we might possibly have. I want to hold on to for now because there was the thing we talked about in story that we might have, but I don't know if we actually used it last time because I can't remember clearly.
Okay, fair point.
I mean, we do have. I could share could we possibly share a route with them? If we're we don't have anything physical to share, but if you're trying to get around certain avenues, here's a path you could take.
Yeah, we could. So we could share that.
Yeah.
The other thing is we could help. We might be able to help them unlock one or two devices if we think that's going to be safe.
Huh.
Help them unlock some of their precursor stuff because there's
interesting. Okay.
At least, if they want an extra hand doing that, that's what I would have to offer. But it depends on,
You can communicate that easily.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you guys want to go that route, we don't have to be specific about what you get in return. We can just say you also got some stuff that you thought looked cool, and now it's on your ship. We can easily just do that. Because that's not going to take a roll because this is mutually beneficial is really what it boils down to. Mav, the more you talk to this guy, the less you think he's trying to screw you over. He's literally just he seems particularly pleased that you are not one of the 6 or 7 factions that wants to put a knife in his ribs, and that you actually seem willing to just actually talk and trade.
We made a friend.
Yeah, he seems unusually pleased by this.
I just picture him like, I've been so lonely.
I know. Yeah, he's like, wait a minute.
These people don't hate me yet.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. Let's stick with this.
Another thing I do want to offer him is I just kind of write something down and slide it across, and I say, if you ever need to talk, this is my contact. These are my rates. It's a discount. You get the friends and family discount.
Perhaps we will be in touch. And he gives you coordinates for what's basically a dead drop point that we move around a lot, but if you want to give us a message or something more interesting, you could leave it here, and only we have the key.
And this is also kind of an aside for Gavesha or anyone. They were down there without suits, right? So like there's something up with these people.
Yes. Much like their ship is heavily modified, so are their bodies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
Gorix's modifications are not as obvious, but after you've been talking to him for a while, you realize that well, actually, yeah, Mav. Now that I think about it, because as we have established, you are not that kind of doctor, but you have studied biology. You know what humans are supposed to be like, and the longer you're around this guy, he's not quite. He doesn't blink often enough. His breathing is significantly slower, like when he's just at a resting pace. He's giving off a bunch of different signals that are that tell you that he is no longer entirely plain old human.
Noted.
But other than that, I mean, really, since neither of you was trying to do anything particularly dastardly yet, we can wrap this up with you get the data core and some other stuff, and we can determine what the other stuff is later.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are we? Just to be clear, what are we trading in for these things that they have? I'm assuming they said yes, but yeah.
He seemed particularly interested when you brought up the idea of giving him a hidden route. He thought that was that was new to him. He thought that was cool. So
I think if we wish to continue our business relationship with these people, we should give them a route from the left side of the map, not the right side of the map.
Fair point.
Or
unless we want our business relationship to end suddenly.
It's not that I want it to end suddenly. It's that I want to know what would happen.
Oh.
Without being the ones to find out.
That is an excellent and mercenary use of the scientific method. I like it.
Scientific method. Step 1, fuck around. Step 2, find out.
Find out.
I learned that in college.
So you went to University of Philadelphia.
Yes.
Yes. Got it. All right. So unless any of you has anything underhanded to do or unseen by the other parties, we can go ahead and wrap that bit up. Which means, we'll assume there was maybe some other conversation back and forth. And this is an excellent time to point out the flashback thing. Later on in future sessions, you can flash back to your interactions with these two guys and determine other things that may have happened, stuff like that. Or we can flash back to you looking through the stuff that you got from them, as well as the other stuff that you put. You see what I mean? Like any of the stuff you pulled off that precursor ship can come in later. which means the only thing left to do is get this data core back to the Maelstrom, the ones what hired you in the first place. So let me check that out real quick to make sure I have that information ready. And hang on. Never fails. Always click on the wrong thing. Sorry about that. Someday I'll learn how to use my computer. Okay, so let me think about this. You have been asked to actually deliver this to the Maelstrom, meaning to their headquarters, which is it's called the Cove. And I'm trying to figure out if any of you have been there before. I don't know that you would have.
Where were we supposed to? I assume that when in that previous mission, in a previous thing where they tried to screw us over, that didn't involve going there.
Right. Yeah, it didn't get to that point. So if any of you, I'm not telling you that you haven't been there before, and if you have a reason, or you can just make up a reason, or just say I've been there before, come up with a reason later. But otherwise, if you haven't been there before, this will be, if it's the first time for all of you, then Quirk's the one that's going to have to navigate literally to it, because it's okay. They're called the Maelstrom for a couple of different reasons. First off, it's a cool name for a pirate organization. But secondly, they are literally in a thing called the Ashtari Cloud, which, interestingly enough, is back in the Rin system. And I will give you some information about that. Okay. And here we go. So the Ashtari Cloud is sorry, I have to scroll. Oh, hang on. I'm sorry. No, it is. There we go. As I said, it's in the Rin system, and the only thing you know right off the bat is that one of the reasons that this particular pirate group is able to be as as secretive as they are is that they have invented specific drives that allow them to navigate through what's called the Ashtari Cloud. And otherwise, it is a thing that is full of stuff that's really hard to navigate through. Like it screws up your ship's nav systems to begin with. It also is full of violent magnetic storms that can physically damage your ship if you don't know the way around it. But because you are working for them, they have given you a very specific route. Or actually, they haven't. Let me rephrase that. What they've given you is the ability to see the beacons that will guide you through, because the route changes because these storms move around. But they have transmitted to you basically today's beacon codes.
We have the password.
Yeah, which means that this won't work tomorrow. As soon as you send them the word that, hey, we've got the thing, they say, okay, use this. So, once again, Quirk, you're not going to have to roll for this because you've been given the codes. Mm-hmm. But this is coming up right on the apex of your piloting ability, even with the codes. You are having to... basically, it involves you like really paying attention. That's really all it is. but you have to do that, and you're clearly the best pilot on the ship. So like anyone else would have a lot of trouble doing this, even with the codes.
No sweat.
All right. Is that how Quirk plays it off? Because I love that idea. Yeah, Quirk's like, whatever. This is easy.
Greg, so I'm very scared.
So once you get through all of that, you end up within view of the headquarters. The headquarters is actually, in some ways, kind of similar to that junkyard you just left, except it seems to be a lot more organized. And the reason it reminds you of the junkyard is this is several ships connected, physically connected to each other in this case. Whereas the junkyard, they were connected by powerful magnetic fields. In this case, they've literally just been welded
together.
Yeah, lashed and welded together. And following some aesthetic that I'm not sure any of you, some of you may well appreciate it. I don't know, Coyle might really appreciate it. If nothing else, the craftsmanship is impressive. But they aim you towards a docking area, and you see a lot of pirate ships flying around. But not just pirate ships. You see some other ships that are clearly along the same lines as yours. You know, smugglers and other things that you just from scanning them, you're pretty sure that they are not affiliated officially with the Maelstrom, but are working for them just like you are. Speaking of weapons, you know how you were looking for weapons on that other ship? This thing has weapons. Oh man, does it have weapons? And it has weapons like they want you to know it has weapons.
Not a big surprise.
Yeah. It's got weapons pointing in literally every direction that it can point, and the ones that move are doing. Those of you who are familiar with such things, they are doing some sort of automated scanning for hostiles. But you have been clearly not marked as a hostile right now. But the big lashed together ship conglomeration just gets bigger and bigger in your view screen as you head towards the docking. Anyone doing anything to prep for the meeting with your client?
I already put on my fancy doctor outfit to go talk to the other people, so
you just keep it on, yeah. Okay, that's good.
I guess this is just a delivery thing. So if any of if the professionalism carries over, I probably would. There had been this war sort of internally to try to decide whether to look at the data core or not.
Was there anything that said we couldn't or shouldn't?
No.
I don't think they told us not to.
I mean, we could download
they
all the data from the core.
Tell you not to.
Just like they didn't tell us not to open that trunk that we delivered.
They also did not tell you not to do that.
I'm all for copying the data from the core to our own stuff.
Yeah, or even just sort of at the very least to just ask what it's a precursor thing. We could sort of ask Greg what they make of the data core.
Okay. Greg says, it's a Phoenix 4 model. It's older. How do I know that?
How do you know that?
I'm going to search my databanks. One moment. I don't know how I know that. I have a lot of data stored. That wasn't part of it until just now.
Did you read the data core?
I can try to read the data core. Do you want me to scan it?
Sure.
Wow, that is a lot of data.
I mean, that sounds right.
Okay.
Let me be more specific. I am able to store an enormous amount of data. This is more than that.
Oh.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Do
Well,
we have an external Greg hard drive that we can?
This data core is the external hard drive.
I see.
If I were no, wait, I'm not certain. If I were to connect to it, one of two things would happen. I could use the data, or it would absorb my consciousness.
Maybe we'd best not risk that.
let's not do that.
Let's not. Let's. Yeah.
I know which one I would vote for.
We'd like to keep your consciousness on the ship.
Yes.
I'm quite fond of your consciousness.
Thank you. That means a lot. I'm also fond of my consciousness.
We know.
That's good. It's
I
important to
restate.
love yourself,
Wow,
right, Doctor?
that is a lot of data. How did they fit so much data in such a small space? Oh, by the way, I haven't described the thing yet. It's roughly the size of trying to think what to compare it to, like a space heater, like a little space heater. You know, maybe like that. And otherwise, it's completely cylindrical and has no obvious methods of connection.
Oh, I have a space heater about like that.
What
yeah,
did it-
okay. It's like it was designed by Appel. It doesn't have any obvious,
yeah. There's no way to obviously connect it to anything, but somehow there's like a tiny port somewhere.
Right.
What did Greg say it reminded them of? The
No, he
model?
said it was a Phoenix. He said it was a Phoenix 4 model.
Phoenix 4. Okay, thanks.
Older, and then at that point he got confused because he didn't know how he knew it.
Yeah. Well, no, that's a thing that I will research later.
Yeah.
A little bit. Yeah. See if anything comes up.
I guess we're not going to find out what's on it since reading it may wipe out Greg.
It may shut down your ship.
Yeah.
All right, well,
A little bit above our pay grade.
more power to him.
Yeah.
Well,
This does raise a question, says Greg.
Just one.
just one.
Well, many, but here's the first one.
Okay.
How does the Maelstrom know what to do with it? How did they know it was there? And again, how did I know what this was?
I mean, either they've got a hold of something or they're working as an intermediary for somebody who does know. And that's my thought.
Now I'm really curious.
We could ask him.
Well, just be careful. Some of these folks, I mean, I'm still kind of on the fence a little bit with these
We don't
folks,
know
but
if we
some of
want
them
them
kind
to
of
know that we know what this is.
yeah, exactly. Some of them
Oh,
will turn on you like that. All right, that that.
like a Tarkalian bat.
Hmm.
They're fine.
Until you try to pet them.
I'm curious how you know that.
I wasn't always a ship.
What, really?
Excuse me, what?
What?
I wasn't always a ship.
What were you before you were a ship?
I was an automaton, I think you
Oh.
would call it.
Okay. Okay, you got transferred. The AI got transferred. Oh, okay.
Are you a transformer?
No.
Bumblebee, is that you?
Gobot?
Is Shia LaBeouf near? I can feel him.
Oh no.
No. I think we've already established that Greg is a Decepticon.
Actually, I think you're right. Yeah.
That's fair.
Deception is fun.
Greg is much cooler. Greg is way too cool to be an Autobot. That's true.
Was your core consciousness transferred, or did they just rebuild you a lot?
Something closer to the second one.
Oh.
Greg
Wait, you
is
were an
so
automaton and you were still
big.
this size?
No,
They
Okay.
just kept adding on to him.
I was much smaller, but I couldn't fly. Now I can fly. This was a long time ago.
Yeah, I was curious if you
Have to
had
be.
any idea how long ago this was.
No.
Okay. Just a
We'll
long time.
unpack this.
My
Unpack this.
my chronometer gets reset every now and then, and I don't know why. Or who. I don't like it when that happens.
I guess
It's
not.
disorienting.
I can't imagine.
Guess it's gotta be. I guess it's gotta be.
No. Sounds like we have some research to do after we go collect our paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of which, we are about to dock.
Oh, man.
I'm just going to take a moment to say I'm very tempted to ask Greg if a green Dodge Charger means anything to him, but I'm not going to do that.
Oh my. Yeah, we'll
Sorry,
have to.
sorry, inside
unpack that
joke.
one later. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, but yeah, the docking happened.
Trying to remember which Transformer turned into Green Dodge Charger.
No, this isn't that. It's a campaign. It's a campaign.
I gotcha.
Different game.
Yeah.
All right, so
Wrong universe.
yeah, that joke was so inside it was muffled. Okay, so hang on. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you get out. You are introduced. Oh, actually, when you get out, I'm assuming are you the data core is not too heavy. It's just heavy enough to be kind of unwieldy. So are you bringing it with you, or are you leaving it on the ship when you come out?
Let's bring it with.
Yeah,
Might as
just
well
checking.
bring it.
All right. In that case, yeah, you were introduced to some sort of major domo who leads you into a waiting area and says Alanda will be with you momentarily. And the place you're waiting in is actually kind of nice. They've got like a kind of a spread laid out for you. There's different things to drink, both alcoholic and not. There are things. It's not just human comestibles. Things for a variety of species and beings are here.
Oh boy, Carbo Slurry.
Yeah. Some. Otherwise, honestly, it's just kind of a nice spread of food. But because you're at a pirate place, it's literally just like heaped on a table. It looks like that illusion from Pirates of the Caribbean before everything was revealed to be rotten. It was that. And except this doesn't turn. It's not an illusion. It's real. And otherwise, like comfortable seats. There is some sort of jaunty but quiet music playing. And the name you were given, Alanda, pretty much everybody, especially everybody in your line of work, knows who Alanda is. Alanda is, in fact, the leader of the Maelstrom. She's been called a lot of things. She's been called the Banshee. She's been called the Pirate Queen. And you have been told that she is the one on her way. Are you, in fact, partaking of any of the refreshments?
Mm-hmm.
And as you do so, right now you are the. Some of you may not be. Is Spencer here too?
I don't think I'd risk Spencer bringing Spencer in. I think I left Spencer on the ship for this one if I came along.
Yeah. So it's basically. I'm assuming it's just the four of you. Did all four of you come in?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking. So it's right now. It's just the four of you in the room. A not very long amount of time passes, just a few minutes, and I don't know that any of you have been given a description of Alonda or been told what she looks like, because I'm not sure she'd be broadcasting her actual image around the system, but she is wearing a just dark pants, a bright red coat, fairly long coat. She does not, in fact, have a hat with a feather in it, but she does have long dark hair, and no kidding, is carrying a particularly gleaming cutlass at her side. And let's see, coil. This is made out of some kind of like weird metalloid that has properties that just off the bat you can only guess at, but you're assuming that being extremely sharp is probably one of them. And
It's not microfilament, is it?
oh hell yeah, it's got to be, right? Yeah.
There we are then.
Yeah. And she says, "Welcome." And her eyes go to the data core. You work fast. Thank you. I wanted to meet you in person. This was well. How did it go? Mav, she seems genuinely curious, as if she doesn't get out much.
It went more places than we expected to go to get this thing.
They always do, don't they?
Yeah. We did have to chase it a little bit, but other than that, it was pretty smooth sailing. I think we made some friends.
Really? Unexpected benefits, then. And she taps a thing on her wrist, and a couple of rough-looking characters come in. These guys are not carrying melee weapons. They are carrying actual, like, blaster rifles. Just on their backs, though. And she says, well, I'll make sure that we transfer everything to you before we officially take possession of this. Which she does. And if I recall, did we say 8 cred at the beginning of this? I think we did. If not, let's say 8 cred. Unless anyone wrote it down, I forgot to write it down. But I think I said 8 cred. Yep, it's 8 cred. Okay. So let's see. Which of you, any of you would have access to your account. So any of you that are looking at that do in fact see it increase by a significant amount. And we can deal with that bit later. She says, while you're here, enjoy the place. You, the areas you're not supposed to go in are clearly marked. The rest of it, treat it as your home until you're ready to leave. And I mean, treat it as your home. You have access to anything you wish, but just as you would not wish to inconvenience your family, please afford us the same courtesy.
Don't break the furniture. Got it. That's a metaphor, but yeah.
It's an interesting one, but specifically here, it does not entirely apply.
Oh.
Sometimes our parties do get a bit rowdy.
The bars are real fun.
Oh.
And if there is anything else you wish, you have only to ask a member of my staff. But as I am here now, if you have any further questions or requests, I like to get to know the people that do good work for me.
You said that it seemed like she doesn't get out much. Like this is her one interaction, and she's kind of clinging to it at this
A little
point.
bit, yeah.
Mav does just kind of quietly slide her card over.
Okay, cool. All right.
And she knows she's rich, so there are no reduced rates.
Not for this. Yeah. She has literally all the money. Yeah. So she nods, and the look she gives you is a mixture of surprise and curiosity, though. Interesting line of work you found yourself in, Doctor.
Yeah, you're telling me.
But from what I've heard, you're one of those people whose words can be just as effective as a weapon sometimes, yes?
It's a living.
Given that most of our weapons are of the conventional kind, we may have use of someone like you in the future.
I hurt you in other ways.
Exactly. Like, oh, are you wearing that? Seriously, those are the shoes? Those are the shoes? Okay, good. Good to know. All right. And with that, unless any of you has anything specific for her, she and the two guys and the data core leave. And let me check your other information over here real quick, just to see what you've got on your ship. Because I think... And we'll figure out how the cred gets divided later as well. Yeah, your status is currently positive with the Maelstrom. And after this, it doesn't go up, but it continues to be positive for obvious reasons. We'll do other status things in just a minute. But as of now, we have officially moved into downtime, and we have some time to get that worked out. So that's cool. Do we want to go ahead and start doing downtime stuff? All right. So we've already done the payoff.
I'm just going to need to step away for a second, but you may feel free to keep going.
No problem. Yeah, we're just going to go down the list then, because most of it's pretty much boilerplate until you guys get into other stuff you want to do. Okay, so I think ship upkeep is only 1 right now because of your ship status. Let me double check that. One of the cool things about these character sheets is they actually have all the stuff. Okay, here we go. Systems plus crew divided by 4. Yeah. So you have been given 8 cred. Your upkeep is currently only 1. So if you want to spend 1 of those for upkeep, you may. If you skip it, I can tell you what the possible repercussions are for skipping upkeep. They are not instantly bad, I'll tell you that. But they are, potentially bad. You were not damaged on this one, so you don't have to worry about fixing the ship. So upkeep's just general maintenance and stuff like that.
We got 2 creds stored on the ship.
That's true, and you may only store 4 cred on your ship at any one time. So you can store some of the cred on your ship, and then divide the rest of it amongst yourselves as just personal cred, if you want to do it that way. You don't have a vault, which means you cannot currently store extra cred on your ship.
If they're paying us 8 cred, I think it'd be easier just to spend one of the cred we have on the ship for the upkeep, and then just divide 8 by 4.
Okay, so right now you're being given 8, so you would spend 1 for upkeep, which would give you 7.
Well, no, we've got 2 cred.
In
the ship.
I see.
Spend 1 of those.
Oh, makes more sense.
So then we just get 2 each out of the payout.
And then that way the ship, okay, I see what you mean. So net loss for the ship's cred is 1. Then is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. If everyone else is cool with that, then I can adjust your ship thing for that. So we'll do that, and then everyone gets 2 cred, which is a fair amount of cred for one actual person. Okay, so hang on, let me look at this real quick. Sorry, I just saw the light pirate jazz in the chat.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
They were playing light space pirate jazz. I think.
Yeah, sorry. I only just now caught that. I'm quite impressed.
Do we mark our?
All right, hang on. Choose side.
John Williams. No, no, but are we?
Okay, let's flip into the X one.
Do we,
okay.
Do we fill in the boxes underneath cred or to the right of cred?
That's an excellent question. Let me look at a sheet real quick and see.
To the right of cred, because the section underneath is the stash.
That's exactly right. So it'll be to the right of cred. Yes, what she said.
So we can only hold 4 cred, up to 4 cred on our person.
Right, and I think you can convert cred into stash later, or you can spend it before you keep it, if you see what I mean, if you have a way that you want to spend it. So if you find yourself if getting this 2 cred gives you more than 4 cred, you can go ahead and spend some of it and, keep it.
Yeah.
All right, so now we need to figure out heat. So let's think about this. The system that you would have received the heat in is definitely the Rin system this time, because everything you did that made any noise was in the Rin system.
We
so now we just need
with our T's crossed and your eyes
You certainly
dotted.
did. Yeah, that part's no extra heat. You're exactly right. Okay, so hang on. So the way that the heat is, and if you look over at the at the Roll20 page now, you can see the different heat options over on the left.
Yeah.
So completely quiet, others were blamed. That's 0 heat. 1 heat is smooth and quiet, low exposure. 2 heat would be contained, standard exposure. And I'm not even going to bother going into 4 or 6 heat because you were not loud and chaotic. You actually were relatively quiet. So the choices are basically 0, 1, or 2 heat, whatever you think fits with what you did.
Like, I think the only people who really made note of us were the were those creatures on the planet. I don't anyone else we really tangled with that we didn't sort
they don't
things
really
out with
count
later.
for heat. Yeah, I think you're right about that.
We had the patrols that talked our way out of, but
oh yeah,
that's true.
okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you attracted some attention, but you managed to deflect it.
so I'm thinking like 1 maybe.
Okay.
Although we did race out of the system, although they didn't try and stop us.
Yeah.
Though
it's
you
1 or
were
2.
you were flying slower than the people that actually raced out of the system.
Yeah.
It's true.
And as was pointed out, you did dot your I's and cross your T's with your exit. So that's a fair point. So I'm thinking 1. All right, so now we can see if we add any extra heat for that stuff on the right. So let's see. Add +1 heat for high-profile or well-connected target or public use of artifacts. You did not use any artifacts publicly. I'll tell you that. High-profile or well-connected target. The target here... The target was, in fact, House Malclaith, because you were technically stealing from a planet they own. They have the rights to anything on the planet, even ancient crash ships. You didn't do any of the other stuff. You didn't damage a hyperspace lane or a system gate. You didn't kill anyone. You didn't actually damage any property. Technically, you didn't damage the property. And it wasn't.
Well, it does.
Yes, and even the property that got damaged wasn't massive. It was completely unnoticed. The only reason it got noticed by anyone is you were looking at it when it got messed up.
And the seismic activity is going to bury that ship again soon anyway.
It's actually quite likely. You're not wrong. So actually, I'm personally leaning towards 2 heat total, because technically it was a high-profile, well-connected target. So it is the kind of thing that eventually they might realize someone was in there messing around. And they might connect it to you, because you were a ship that did a slightly weird thing. The good news is, though, that the other ship did a much weirder thing, and they're going to look at them first.
Mm.
So what are you feeling like? 1 or 2 heat on that one total?
2 seems
You feel like 2? Okay.
reasonable.
Okay, if everybody else is cool with that, I'll flip on 2 heat in the Rin system. Whoa,
Yeah.
that's not 2 heat. Is that 2 heat?
2 heat or not 2 heat? That is the question.
Yeah. So the way you change these things in the Roll20 is a little odd. Oh, that is way too much heat. Sorry.
No!
Oh, it turns out you're now at war with someone. That was bad.
Yay!
Okay, let me fix
Is that
that.
the thing where it's like multi-sided choose side? That one?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. It's the
I just
process
gotta-
we had to use for Fiasco dice.
yeah, which is actually fine, but I haven't had to fine tune it quite this way before. I think that's it. Yeah, finally got it. Okay, so now you've got 2 heat in the Rin system, 2 heat in the Breck system. 2 heat is nothing. Is really what it boils down to. So no big deal there. Let's get over to whatever the next thing is in downtime. Actually, technically, we're not in downtime yet. We're still in we're in kind of mid-time. Entanglements. I need to roll for entanglements. Okay, so let me look at that and see how that works. All right.
Oh.
You're not wanted, so it's pretty low. Okay, I'll roll entanglements while we do the downtime, because now we're on downtime. And I'll let you know if anything comes up from the entanglements. Let's see. And that means the final thing is, in fact, downtime. So I flipped it back over. I need to move that clock out of the way. I flipped it back over to the downtime list over on Roll20 now. You may have to refresh. Sometimes or sometimes it does it on its own. Either way, if you go over to the Roll20 page, you can see the list of things you could do during downtime. So as I pointed out, the good news is no one got hurt and your ship is not damaged, so you don't have to spend any time doing any of that. You don't have to lay low because you don't have enough heat to bother with that. Some of you have built up a bit of stress, so you can indulge your vice in order to do that. I will remind you, the way that you do that is you roll dice equal to your lowest attribute, and you clear stress equal to the highest die you roll. If you roll more if you clear more stress than you had marked, something goes wrong during the attempt to either indulge or get to your vice, and then the overindulgence options are underneath that. So unless you have 6 stress, there is always a chance to overindulge. And that's it for that.
Oh.
So if anybody has any, everybody gets 2 downtime actions for free. If you want to do more than 2 downtime actions, it'll cost you a cred per downtime action. Also, as a reminder, if there is anything you just want to do, do you want to take your downtime here at the Cove, or do you want to do it somewhere else at the big pirate party, or do you want to go some other place? You will not be bothered by anybody here, I'll tell you that.
I want to
might be interesting. What do you...
Yeah, pirates are cool.
Yeah, okay. Just making sure. It is a fun place to take your downtime, I'll tell you that. This is a significant organization. So anything like acquire assets works here because there are people here that can get you stuff. You know, it is pirates. So anything you could do at any other system, you can do here. Like I said, you get 2 downtime actions for free each, and then if you want to pay a cred for any extra downtime actions, you can do that. But if there is anything you want to do that is not specifically covered by a downtime action, you just do it. You know, you're just like, I just want to go talk to that guy, or I want to have a nice meal, or whatever makes sense to you. That's just free play, and you get to do it. This game is not that restrictive. Basically, they've just come up with a list of things that are mechanically significant, and that's your downtime stuff. And I will remind you that training is an option, and if you train in Insight, you get a bonus because of your crew choices earlier. So if nothing else, you can always train in something. And I'll remind you how that works if that's what you want to do. Though I think it's pretty well spelled out on the Roll20 sheet as well. Let me see. Yeah, it's actually really well spelled out. on the roll 20 sheet. And then let's see. After this, we've got a little bit of time left. So after this, we'll kick into XP, etc. So does anybody have any ideas for downtime stuff? We could go ahead and probably wrap up downtime and then start a new job next session if you want to do it that way.
I'm going to indulge in my vice.
Okay, so you're going to try to clear some stress. How much stress do you have right now?
I have 5.
So you are quite likely to not overindulge. You've got a 1 in 6 chance of overindulging. Okay, so what you do is you choose your lowest attribute. And let me see. Let's get over to quirk.
It's 1.
So you're going to roll a single die, which is better than if Coil were to do it, because I think Coil, you'll still have a 0 when one of those does.
I do.
So yeah. So you would, if you remember, what you do on a 0 is you roll 2 dice to take the lowest one or lower one. All right. So yeah, you pick either resolve or insight. It doesn't matter, and just roll a single die. And
oh
you
boy,
did it. 1. And all right, so you clear 1 stress. So hooray, you cleared a stress.
I was gonna train, but I think I might. Oops.
You can also, by the way, you can roll your insight or your resolve by clicking on the word insight or resolve, whichever one you want to do. You can also just make it an official roll.
That's why I just type in the die command. I don't have to click 6 different windows for.
Yeah. Just FYI, either one works. I was just letting you know that that's a thing you can do. So
I think I'm going to indulge my vice again.
might want to. So now you have 4 stress, and you can indulge your vice again.
Yep.
All right.
My vice of luxury, nutrient spas, and rarefied proteins.
Okay. And
look at me overindulge.
Dang it! And that's what you needed the first time. Okay, so let me double check exactly what happens. Hang on.
I do clear out all the stress, looks like.
Yeah, you do. You actually literally clear all your stress. Okay, so the good news is you cleared your stress. The bad news is you have to pick one of those 3 options.
Big talk.
You're going to take 2 heat, 2 extra
I'm just sitting there in the nutrient spa, just relaxing and just like, oh, man, you won't believe it.
Are there...
no shit, there I was.
Yeah, no shit, there I was.
Monsters to the left of me, monsters to the right of me. Quantum fluctuations in this precursor tech. It was crazy.
It was nuts. And so basically that information gets back to the wrong person. Like someone, this is actually kind of cool. So you're bragging about this in the den of the people that hired you. So you would think that wouldn't be a problem, right?
No, I'm trying to be cool. Like, let me tell you about what we did for you.
So our question is, who's there that cares enough about this that you pick up extra heat?
And there's a spy in their midst.
There's a spy. We don't have to answer that now, but let's remember that that's a thing, because your overindulgence roll has added to the story, if nothing else. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, go ahead and clear your stress track if you haven't already. I think the heat's going to end up being back in the Rin system because that's the place you were talking about. So it turns out that messed up thing I did earlier should have stayed. I accidentally chose 4 heat for you anyway. Okay, so let's see. Is that it? Nope, that's 3. Okay, so now you're going to have 4 heat in the Rin system. All right. Which actually could conceivably lead to something kind of neat later. So we'll see. That's it. Now you got 4 heat. Okay. And Windows keeps wanting to tell me how the weather is because the heat's right over that stupid new thing that Windows 10 does. Okay, so now... all right, so I guess that was your downtime. If you want to spend cred for more downtime, you can. Anybody else?
Actually, yeah, no, I'm gonna.
Go ahead.
I'll do it for training. So.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, yeah. So spend a cred and do the training. And which thing are you training in?
Insight.
Okay, so you get an extra XP because of your crew. Got it. Okay. So yeah, just add 2 more to your insight thing, and you're good. All right. Anyone else?
I would also like to indulge my vice to lower stress, but I have 0 in one of them.
Okay, so you're going to have to do now the good news is you're less likely to overindulge because you have to choose the lower one.
Yeah.
So basically what you do is you roll 2 dice and you choose the lower result. And what is Mav's vice?
It's obligation, so I imagine that she goes to the bar and has to listen to drunk people talk about their problems.
Wow.
You do this for fun?
Yeah, I like it that relaxes you.
Mav, like me, does not know how to get out of a social interaction, so they just kind of sit there like, so that's very traumatic. I'm so sorry.
You've make that work for you. And no kidding, you're in a big pirate party. There's plenty of people with like dark things to talk about. So that's going to work. Okay, fair enough. All right, so go ahead and...
Can I just click the Indulge Vice button?
Oh, crap, I forgot that was a button. Do that. Yeah, I forgot that was a thing.
0 bonus dice.
Oh, come on. I can't believe that happened.
My rolls are always so low.
Except for this one, which is the one time you don't want to crit. So, that's amazing. All right. Wow. You have
Guess
to take
I'll die.
Well, you take the lower one. Okay, so that means you have to choose one of those things that's still on the list. Do you have the list up? I can read it for you if you need to.
I do not have the list up.
Okay, so the three options are rash action. You reduce your stash by 4 or take 2 debt. Big talk, you brag about your exploits and take 2 heat. That's the one that Quirk did. The other one is lost, which means you play a different character until this one returns from their bender. And I like the idea of a therapy bender.
She just can't get away from people. Every time she thinks she can finally step away, someone else
exactly
is
what
like,
it is.
I just
I'm not telling you to do this by any means, but I love the idea that Mav was actually so effective and people were so starved for someone to talk to that she ends up being, like, for a period of time, just the Maelstrom's therapist.
Dr. Mav Wilo, Iris therapy.
So if you want to do it that way, come up with a new character for next session.
Okay.
And we'll do it. If you want to keep playing Mav, we'll choose one of the other two. And Mav can come back after one session, but I like it that this is an option. Come up with a different character, and you're in a good place to meet for the other 3 people in your crew to meet a completely different character.
About it.
So the place you're taking downtime, just come up with it, figure out who the new person is, and that person will join the crew for the next job.
Okay, it'll be a muscle character.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be fun. Okay. All right. The other thing I like about this is it's fairly quick to make a new character. However, if you need any help on that, just let us know. We can talk about it offline on the Discord, etc. So yeah, we'll also between now and then talk about Mav is under contract with the Maelstrom for a little while, so that means that you guys are going to have to pick up a 4th person for whatever this job is. Which means actually we can connect the new character to the new job. We'll figure that out and see how that works.
It's just some muscly dude comes out of the bar like, I just had the best talk of my life. I feel so good. I need to start new. It's gonna be new me.
Mav was talking about you guys. I feel like I know you now. I'm looking forward to this. Okay, good. All right then. So Mav is lost for a job. So now, anybody else have any downtime ideas? Oh wait, that was just one downtime for Mav, right? You can still do a second one.
I assume she fucking sleeps it off with the pirate group she lives with now. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you still have a downtime action you can take if you want to do it.
I overindulge, but do I still get to, like, lower my stress?
Oh, you clear your stress track. Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
When you overindulge, you clear your stress. It just, unfortunately, something bad happens because of it.
Could I leave that as a flashback for later? Because 100%. I have a feeling that'll come in handy.
Yes, you can. And in fact, if you want to transfer that to your new character, you could also do that, FYI. Because really, it's kind of player dependent, not character dependent. So if you find yourself in a situation where the new character can use that, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, we'll keep it for Mav for when she comes back.
I'll keep it for Mav just because I love the idea of, like, oh, by the way, I learned jiu-jitsu while I was
that's
with the
cool.
pirates.
Okay, you're right. You're right. That has to happen. Okay, no, you're not wrong. Okay, make a note somewhere that you've got that, because I promise I'll forget. And we'll get back to it when Mav returns to the crew. Okay. Well, that's how the dice treat you sometimes. I can't believe I went through that whole thing. Well, you're less likely to overindulge. Well, there we go. Okay. I said less likely. All right, fair enough. Anybody else got a downtime or two or more they want to do? And if not,
Yes.
you can hold them. You can hold them for later. Yes.
I do.
Okay. And, oh, I will remind you. You have a long-term project still happening.
Yeah,
too.
that may happen, but
Okay.
I also need to reduce my stress.
Oh, how much stress do you have?
7.
Whoa. Okay. Now I didn't
we
realize.
stressed out our mechanic a bit.
I didn't remember you built up that much. Yeah, you might want to maybe indulge a vice there. So your vice is basically
It's also
scrounging?
obligation, but yeah,
obligation. But in your
to a
case,
Junkers Consortium, so I am just hunting for things.
how does
I'm just
that
looking-
look when you indulge it then, especially
So,
here?
Yeah, I mean, here you said that there were some very interesting things with the ships connecting to each other, and a lot of there was some similarities to the
Definitely.
to the other junkyard, the other place, and so
Yeah, yeah.
basically it's just going through and looking through different, if they have like spare parts places or if they have
do.
just
Yeah, they
just
definitely
stuff.
do.
If they have stuff to go and
Yeah.
look at to try to just sort of see and figure out how things work and try to see, and if they, I don't know what, so you I don't know if it's like they have places where you can go, like a junkyard thing, you can go and grab stuff, or if there's something where it's a lot more like just you go in and you look at stuff. I don't know if what the deal would be here.
Yeah, this place is big enough. There would be both options for sure. So whatever coil. I mean, a coil might just do both. But what it boils down to is you're studying things, trying to find cool stuff.
Yeah.
And honestly, given you may be trading some of, like, not necessarily anything you got off the precursor ship, just other stuff you have, because that's how this works. And so we can come back to that. Now, unfortunately, although I don't know, maybe not, you are in the same position as Mav.
Yeah.
So when you click the indulge vice button, it is going to give you 0 dice.
Yes.
So now the least you can get rid of is 1, or so.
Yeah. Now,
But go ahead and do that and see how much you
now one
you
would
get out.
think. Quick question: if I roll a 6, I have
You clear-
7. So
Yeah. So you
that's
clear
still-
6 and you would have 1 left.
So I'd still be okay.
Yeah, you'd be fine. You
Excellent.
now I could say this with confidence. It is impossible for you to overindulge because
Must be nice.
yeah, the most you can clear is 6.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I'm gonna roll now, and it'll be like 1, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
Okay. Indulge vice. Bonus dice 0.
Yep.
2.
Okay, so 2. So you're down to 5.
Okay.
You can do it again if you want to. At this point, you just want to make sure you don't roll 2 6s.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say anything else because last time I said that,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
one of you overindulged. So
I'm trying to click. Oh, okay, I've got to click on the one prior. Okay, I get it. I understand now. So I have 5. I
Yeah,
have
you're down
make
to
a
5.
decision about that because there's that, but then there's like projects and other stuff happening.
I will remind you, you can spend cred. So
I could spend
for
cred.
extras.
That's true. Do we need to repair anything?
you don't,
Ah,
and you've already spent the 1 cred for upkeep, so you're good on
okay,
that.
We're gonna
You
take
have no
at
further
it.
cred obligations. I'll give you that.
We're gonna take a stab at further indulgence. And,
All right.
we'll
The
see what
second free
happens
one
as
is
we dive deeper into the junk pile and see what's
indulge
there.
vice. Let's
All
see what it
right.
does.
here
I
we
know.
go.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a 4. All right. So now you have 1 vice. I'm on 1 vice.
Yay.
1 stress left.
One vice.
1 vice. Well, I guess technically you still just have the 1 vice. But now you have 1 stress left. So knock your stress down to 1.
Yay.
And if you want to do anything else, you will have to spend a cred for further downtime action.
Okay. Trying to decide if it would be worth it to
Yeah, you have a
progress
bit
on
of
the
cred.
long-term project or
Might not be a bad idea. Let me look at the
Train.
because you've currently only got 1. You've only got 1 of 6 pie pieces filled in.
and there's also, you see, the weird thing is because of this, I also have to look at the precursor stuff that
Right.
that we've salvaged, that I managed to grab, and just sort of
That
figure
could
out.
that could be a way to fill in some of those segments, though.
Oh, as part of
It
the
could be.
long-term project. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
conceivably do that if it was sort of applied
Because I
toward
mean,
that.
clearly the dark hyperspace stuff is related in some way to precursor tech. So you may
Yeah.
find something that connects to that.
Mayhap. Yeah. I think something that I had said in the previous session was the possibility that it might be that one of the things I grabbed from the ship might be some part of a cloaking device of some kind. I can't remember exactly what it was we said.
Actually, you're right. We did mention that. Yeah.
I don't think I ended up using it, but I was going to. But
it's hanging out there for to pick up later. Yeah.
We're sitting there alongside the. Actually, we used the jamming device finally, so I was
actually used the jamming device.
I think I'm going to spend a cred and do long-term project.
Okay, so in that case, it's you roll an action. Okay, so you pick an action that you think fits the way that you're pursuing the long-term project. And let's see, what options do we have? Let's look at that. I mean, honestly, it's not impossible to fit that into rig if you especially if you're using it to tinker with the new stuff you got. Study is also an obvious option. Also attune, but that's 0 dice. You may not want to do that.
Yeah, actually, I think like tinkering with the stuff could work because if it is, like we said, some kind of cloaking device, if it relates to just basically the spatial relations in any way, if it works that way,
sure,
where it's actually bending space around to make a thing. I mean, I suspect that Greg may already have one or something like it because Greg appeared as another ship at one point not too long ago, and we still haven't found out how Greg did that.
Greg has some shape-shifting abilities. You've seen it happen.
No, but so it might not be the same thing. But yeah, if this is something like that where there's anything phase related to this, then it could be just continued exploration to try to figure out, okay, how does this work? I forget what it had something to do. Oh yeah, I was trying to use it to try to figure out where that expedition might have vanished off to in
that's right,
in dark hyperspace.
You sure were. That's exactly right. Okay.
So just to learn the nature of the mechanics of the thing might help.
Yeah, and that's 100% a rig roll.
Okay, I shall then.
And as it's an action roll, you can add the stuff to it. You could push yourself, thus gathering more stress. You could get help from any of your friends. As a reminder, you've already got 3 dice to work with, but you can do Devil's Bargain. You've got all the stuff that if you're looking for more dice, there are other ways to get them.
I think as this is a downtime thing, though, I think it's a little too early for me to start grabbing additional dice for something like this.
I'm with you on that. It was more of a reminder than anything.
Oh yeah, no, totally. I appreciate it. But yeah, I think we're just going to keep it at rig, and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
All right. So he does the research, looks at some of the devices, starts to figure out spatial relations, applies to how we travel along the route. I am pressing the button. This is risky, controlled, desperate.
Oh, let me think about that. This is. It's an action roll, but honestly, well, hang on. You know what? There is some
I end
risk
up
to it.
somewhere else?
Interestingly enough, no, you're right. We're going to call it risky standard, or do I want to make it? It's not limited standard. It's going to be risky standard. Yeah, we're just sticking with risky standard on that. The reason I was waffling is it could be risky great. You know what? No, forget that. It's going to be risky great.
Risky great? Okay.
Yeah.
So I may be playing someone else next time. We'll have to find out. Let's see.
It's going to be a whole new crew.
Risky great. Okay, here we go. And bonus dice 0.
Right. Okay, so partial success, which is fine. Okay, so that means, first off, what does 4 give you? 4 gives you two slots. So I will fill in 2 slots on your Dark Hyperspace Investigation thing, which means you are halfway to completing it. Okay.
Yay.
All right. So I've filled in the second and third segments of that. Partial success in this case, it's like nothing particularly bad is going to happen. I'm trying to figure out, and I'm open to suggestions on what else could be an issue here. It's but because it was risky, great. The consequences of a partial success are not terribly bad, if you see what I mean. So what was the risk? What can we, and we don't have to decide it immediately if we don't have any ideas. And I'll admit, right now I don't have any good ideas. I'm trying to come up with something. But what do we think it should be?
What the risk here?
Yeah. What was your fairly minor consequence to doing this?
Okay, so not what could have happened, but what we think did happen. Is that what you're asking? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Because you suffer a minor inconvenience, if anything.
Okay. I think there's a possibility. Here's one idea, and you can let me know how this sounds. Where, like, there may be a slight phasing issue now.
Okay, fair enough. How does that look?
So the way that might look, not with the ship itself. I don't want to make it that. Huge.
Are you talking about with Coil?
Yes.
Okay. I like it so far.
Where there may occasionally, and the thing is, it's really just like an echo of Coil may show up.
Okay.
On the ship from time to time.
Yeah, possibly from the past or future.
Possibly from the past or future. Possibly from an alternate timeline, we're not sure.
Ooh! Oh, hell yes. Okay, that's good. These are my favorite consequences. Okay.
And so it's just something where, like, they're not usually there for long. They might not even actually physically be there. It might just be an image. I don't know.
Yeah,
we have to decide if we have to decide that. But, like, there's another version of Coil working on this problem. And...
Are you getting in each other's way?
We might be getting in each other's way a little bit.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Manhattan, except you're annoying each other.
Yeah. It's a problem. And I think we'll have to decide whether it's like a past, future, or alternate thing, or if it's
or some of each. Yeah, I like it. Okay, no, that's good. That's good. Make a note of that. And I am also making a note of that, and we'll try to remember to bring in alternate coils. Okay. All right. That leaves Gavesha. Do you have any downtime plans?
I don't really need to clear any stress yet.
Yeah, you're actually kind of low on stress right now, aren't you?
Yeah. Either work on this project.
That's true. The project is open to everyone. So, and you helped start the thing.
Yeah,
so that's true. Yeah.
So
you could do that.
Yeah, I might as well work on the project.
All right. So, in what manner are you working on the project?
Here is a question for Jim/Coil. How much would Coil tell or have told Gavesha about this missing expedition ship and or the people on board?
So, yeah, I don't know that it's a secret necessarily. I think that they've probably known each other long enough that Coil might have mentioned it from time to time.
Okay.
But it's maybe hasn't gone into huge detail about everything.
Okay.
I think the stuff that you'd probably know more than anything else is that basically he got kind of exiled from his ship because he did not see eye to eye with the people that were on it, and that it had to do with it had to do with just basically him getting blamed for something he didn't do, or that he wasn't that wasn't his fault. But it was, but it might have had to do with, venturing out into. As we've been talking, it had to do with. He probably would have told you that it had to do with venturing out into sort of dark hyperspace and and other paths like that. So you probably would know at least somewhat that there's stakes of some kind that were involved.
So, given what I have gathered about this expedition, or been able to look up as a matter of public record, and what familiarity I have gleaned from my longtime crewmate, I'm gonna use my visions.
Oh, interesting.
I'm just gonna look for the ship and my connection with waypoints.
Wow, interesting. Okay, fair enough.
I'm just gonna try.
Okay.
I don't know.
That sounds like an attune roll, obviously.
I can spend an extra stress to look for something that's only familiar and not an intimate knowledge.
Yeah, and in this case, you can consider yourself familiar with it because, like you said, you've researched it. Yeah. And you've heard the stories from Coil. So the combination of that, you can count it as familiar, but just one more stress will be what that is. Okay. So mark that and make sure you've done the stress part. And other than that, I guess make it a tune roll. And in this case, we're going to do the same thing. It's going to be risky great because you have the potential for a lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah.
And any consequences are not going to be major.
Yeah, and we've already discovered there's some weird stuff out there.
There is, in fact, some weird stuff. They're flying around in some of the weird stuff. So, yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Whoa, that's 6. Okay, so let's see. 6 gives you 3, I think. Am I remembering that right? Hang on, long-term project. Yeah, 6 gives you 3 more. So that's it. You have completed it. You only had 3 left. So hang on. Let me get over to that. I'll go ahead and fill it out so you can see all 6 of them filled in. And that, by the way, was only one of your downtime actions. So we will, between now and the next session, we'll figure out what solving this looks like. We may want to talk offline about it just to discuss what that means now that you have completed the research. But the project is complete. Let's figure out what that means before next time. And you still have one downtime action if you want to take that.
Then well, now I have stress to clear.
Actually, you just built some up. That's a fair point. How much do you have now?
So after that, and whatever all that might entail, I think Gavesh is gonna crack open an old book made from dead trees.
Nice. Okay. Ooh, and here's the cool thing. Not only do you have your own store of books, there are books here. So there are new books to seek out because these pirates have plundered many different things, some of which are books made of dead trees. So you have the option for new books, which has got to be cool. So fair enough. You meet up with I don't know, like the pirate bookseller, and no, it's got to be the pirate librarian. What was that?
Right.
And go hang out with the pirate librarian for a while because now that I've said those words out loud, that's what I wish I had on this.
That was my only question when our wonderful pirate leader said, "Any other requests? Do you have a library?
Do you have books? Yeah, we have books. All right, I'll see you. I'll see you guys in like a few days. You know where to find me." All right, fair enough. In that case, make your roll, and if you overindulge, we'll figure out what that looks like. So far, we're at.
Okay, so how does this work again?
If you open your character sheet, you can literally just click on the Indulge Vice button.
Do I have to put in a certain number of dice, or does it just do the thing?
It'll just do it, and you don't get bonus dice on this. And I don't think it asks you for anything. All right, so you got 3. You've cleared 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so just clear 3 stress. It's that easy. And just spend a bunch of time in the pirate library.
You sure do.
And they have some pretty cool stuff. If you want to be specific about the stuff, that'd be a good thing for a flashback later if you wanted to be specific about some cool books you found. So that is it for downtime. That is everything. I'm going to restore the downtime sheet back to the first thing. So it's easier for you to see that your dark hyperspace investigation is complete. I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to leave it on there to remind us that it's complete. So when we come back here, we can make sure we remember to talk about what that is. But that is everything officially. We will also figure out, I guess at the beginning of next session, I'll give you options for potential jobs. But if anyone, while you're here in Piratopia, wants to figure out, has an idea for a job that would logically come up, throw it out in Discord. We'll talk about it. And by the same token, once Brittany has her new character, we can also possibly link that character to the job if we want to make that happen. So we'll figure that out between now and next Wednesday. And other than that, that's everything I had. So thanks a lot, y'all. That was fun. And we finished up the job and we did downtime. That was cool.
Yay! Very cool. Very cool. I was just thinking about it. It's like the only other thing. Yeah, the only other things I think I would have done on the pirate base would be things I don't think are even worth spending downtime or even mission things
that's
on.
just free play stuff. So for example. Did you have any ideas that you wanted to do?
I mean, it's self-indulgent headcanon stuff, I guess, to an extent, because it was like I think I already actually I did one of them as kind of a downtime action and just sort of going and looking through, just sort of getting an idea of what the pirates' collections are and sort of what they're doing with their junk and what have you.
Right.
And so that's sort of a vague thing that I guess we can sort of talk about, determined as time goes on.
Fair point. Yeah.
We want to do? I'm sorry.
The other thing was this. Just briefly, the other thing was again surreptitiously. I don't know if it's like even asking around so much, but trying to see if they are still pursuing Iris and Coyle's former comrades.
Oh, that's a good question. Probably. Actually, almost certainly, given the way that ended. We'll talk more about that too. But I think that's good information to bring up. Especially the one with his face on a billboard.
Arlo is in deep trouble.
Oh, bad. It's not good. It is not good. He's had plastic surgery and he's in deep hiding.
Yeah.
All right. So fair point on that. Okay. But yeah, that's it. Like I said, we'll have some offline stuff to do, and anything that we talk about for anyone watching, we will begin next time with a recap of anything that we came up with between sessions to make sure everyone knows what the deal is. And thanks again, everybody. That was fun.
Yay! Before I launch into any post-game stuff, I think Josh, you were going to say something, and
I guess we wanted to deal with XP.
Oh shoot! Thank you for reminding me. That is the thing I always forget, and it's the actual reward for doing the stuff. Thank you for reminding me. Yes, let's do XP. In fact, Josh, since you brought it up, let's start with Quirk. Do you know the questions by now, or do you want me to ask them?
I'm looking right at them. So.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on those?
Didn't do any desperate action. I addressed a tough challenge with speed or flare. I mean, we were racing to.
You did do that. You definitely did that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's at least one.
Police drives or heritage or background.
Yes, you did when you indulged your vice. I would say at least once.
And that goes to the next one: the struggle with issues from your vice or traumas during the session.
Yeah, you know what? You overindulged. You sure did. Okay, so here's my thought. I think that's 4 total, let me know if you agree, because I'm thinking
Not
one.
gonna argue. Not gonna argue against 4.
I'm thinking 1 for the speed thing, 2 for the background thing, and then 1 for the struggling. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's fine with that.
All right. I'm not the final arbiter on this, interestingly enough, but I can make suggestions, and I'm feeling like 4. So, all right, cool. Who wants to go next? And do you have access to the questions, or do you want me to ask them? They are on your character sheet, FYI. So,
Okay.
So who's next? I can choose someone.
I'll go.
Okay.
So I definitely addressed a tough challenge with the way.
You did more. You did that multiple times. Yes. The most you can get is 2 experience for it, but you definitely did it more than once in this session. So
and I think in resolving that long-term project, that does tie into my background with Coil.
Yeah, it definitely does. So that's at least 1 for that.
Didn't really struggle with my vice.
You're one of the 2 people that didn't overindulge. So I think yeah, you didn't struggle with it. You you literally indulged in it.
Not yet.
So let me think about that. I'm thinking 3 or maybe 4. Okay, definitely 2 for the mystic stuff.
Okay.
What do you think about the second one? Multiple times or just once? I'm trying to remember what else happened for the background stuff. Actually, you know what? The background, you did some of the background stuff during downtime as well, and that counts. So I'm thinking maybe 4 total for you as well.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So Brittany, Jim, who wants to go next?
I can go.
All right.
I'm going to say that I got 2 because I didn't roll a desperate action, but I did. I addressed a tough challenge with insight or compassion. I definitely struggled with a vice.
You definitely struggled with the vice, and I would argue that you addressed your particular tough challenges more than once. So I'd argue for 2 points on that one for sure.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you definitely struggled with your vice, unfortunately. You got trapped in the, you got trapped in the maelstrom, or at least the cove. You got trapped in the cove by a bunch of pirates that really just needed someone to talk to.
With mommy issues. It's fine.
Oh my God. I can't wait to hear the stories on that one. Yeah, that'll be interesting. Mav will be glad to get back to dangerous space battles after that. Okay, so I think we're on to Jim.
Yes. Hang on, I just want to make a note of something I want to say in a minute later.
Okay, good. All right, you got your questions?
So yes.
Yeah, you do. Okay.
So I think that
yeah, no one did any desperate actions this time.
Yeah,
but
you addressed a tough challenge with technical skill or ingenuity. Came up with some contingencies. Didn't actually, I think, until we got to the it came up with contingencies that ended up not being necessary.
Yeah, honestly,
really
most of your tough challenges were during. Yeah, most of your tough challenges were during downtime. Interestingly enough, yeah.
There was like one rig roll I made earlier on, and I can't remember what it was for.
Actually, no, that counts as multiple times though. You did it once during the job and once during downtime.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's multiple. That works.
But does that?
That's enough for 2 XP.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I think expressing my beliefs, drives, and heritage or background happened a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, during the job, and multiple times during downtime. Yeah. That was what your downtime was. So yeah, you're right. Yeah, you did it. Yeah.
And
so that's another couple.
Yeah. So then I don't think I struggled with issues from my vice or traumas.
Yeah, yeah. You were a part of half of the team that didn't do any struggling this time. Okay, so I think that's 4 for you as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right. So if anybody has filled up. Oh, okay. So between now and next time, decide what thing you want.
Yay.
And we'll get that. All right. So, oh crap, I forgot to do crew stuff. So we all get to discuss the crew stuff. Mostly you. All right, so the crew stuff is... Where'd the crew stuff go? Come on, Greg. Be cool.
Bottom right.
There it is. Man, I just was not focusing. Okay, thank you. Okay, I will go ahead and... do you think you executed a successful transport or smuggling operation?
Yes.
I think maybe you did. Yeah. Okay. Did you contend with challenges above your current station? Again,
Always.
yeah. Right. So far, until you bump up your crew quality, that's almost always going to be the case. And sure enough, both of the groups that you tangled with this time were above your station, so you did. Your crew's reputation is still strange. So, do you feel like you bolstered it or developed a new one?
I mean, you scared those smugglers.
But you scared you scared the crap out of those guys. And I will remind you, on top of that,
we impressed the pirates.
Your pilot was talking to everyone who would listen about it. So you've got that definitely going for you. That's multiples on that one. All right. So what's the final one on that? Let's look. That is. Oh, it's just the goals drives inner conflict or essential nature of the crew. Yes, I feel like you did. What do you think? Because you interacted with a lot of people and were definitely you were definitely being yourselves about it, if you see what I mean. So yeah, I think so.
We were very us.
Yeah, you certainly were. Okay, so let's think about this. So that's 1 for the transport. Honestly, multiples on the challenges. You've already got yourself an advancement. I just need to see how much to leave you after the advancement. So 1 for that, 2 for the other one. Honestly, 2 for bolstering your reputation. You got a lot of XP for your crew this time. You ended up with 6 XP because you did a couple of those multiple times, which is not easy to do during downtime. So nice work. So what that means is you maxed it out. You're going to get a playbook advancement, and then you're going to end up with 4 more coming into the next session. Which, holy crap.
Nice.
Yeah, that's going to be nice. Okay, so right now it's just Coil has to decide which thing you're going to get, and then everybody gets to pick a new crew advancement. And again, between now and next time, I'll throw the options up in Discord and we can talk about it specifically so you know what you're choosing. And we'll do those. So thanks for the reminder on the XP, which I don't know why I never remember that, but I'm glad I have other people to be part of my brain for me. And now we're done. Thanks.
Yay! Cool, awesome. I will just briefly mention, as if anyone wants just to see the deleted scene that didn't happen about the when we were I finally came upon a contingency thing we could have done while the negotiation was going on, and that probably would have been not quite as ridiculous as the first idea, but similarly ridiculous, which was just to see if Greg could somehow patch into the other ship's teleportation system and move the stuff into our hull.
And I like all of the weird ideas that you guys are coming up with, specifically because, like, if you get a really good roll on it, it just works. And if you don't, we come up with a really weird thing that happened because of it. And sometimes maybe you also get what you wanted out of it, but at what cost? So I like those. Yeah. Nice.
No, those are always good. Double-edged victories are always good.
I'm a fan. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, I guess we're going to go ahead then and do our outros. So we can go around. Feel free to plug whatever you like. Tell folks where they can find you. Feel free then to give us any final thoughts you had about this session, favorite moments, or what have you. And we will start once more with our GM, Brian.
Thanks again. Thanks everyone for playing it, and also thanks to all of you for watching it. If you're currently watching this on Twitch, you can check me out on Twitter at Vaclam, which is Malcav backwards. And you can also hear me as one of the co-hosts of the Armor Goes Clank podcast. New episodes coming soon. And my favorite part of this time was that you actually managed a diplomatic / political solution to this, which I did not see coming, and it worked remarkably well. But what I had already established about the people involved, like what it took a while, but once all the pieces got in place, they were like, oh, wait a minute, these people are literally not trying to kill us. And once you managed to convince them of that, it was amazing how smooth it went. So interesting. And I may end up having to adjust some faction stuff between now and the next time, and I'll let you know if that happens, because you would be aware of it. So I'll work on that between now and next session. But thanks again. That was I had a lot of fun.
Very cool. Very cool. Definitely. That was great. That was great. That was very unexpected too. It was much easier than I thought it was going to be, or it only felt that way. Maybe, I don't know. We were just waiting in the wings to be like, ah. And just in case. But now we will go ahead and head over to Josh.
I'm Josh Burnett. I'm Bernie the Flump and all the things. I write stuff for Dungeon Crawl Classics and other D&D adjacent projects. You can find links to all that at BernieTheFlump.com. I had fun tonight. I liked and appreciated the fact that we actually smooth talked our way through the entire thing. I say we, mostly Mav. So kudos. Which is a nice change of pace, much as I enjoy ramming ships into other ships at any given opportunity. But I'm sure it'll present itself again.
I fully expect us to T-bone something in space soon. We almost did a thing where we could have where we could have broken. If I'd managed to get that plan out, we almost could have just broken hyperspace for a little while, and that would have been fun. And that actually, I think, would have caused more heat. Actually, I saw that was one of the items on the heat thing was damaging hyperspace lanes or something along those lines.
Yeah, that can actually cause many problems. You can get wanted with that. So.
Yeah. So I'm actually kind of glad that we ended up not doing that. But at the same time, that might actually give us fodder for alternate coil, possibly. I don't know. We'll see. Awesome. And now let's head over to Brittany.
I'm Brittany. You can find me over on Twitter at ThatDamnDruid. I'm on Twitch as ThatDangDruid because censorship. And I'm doing some stuff on TikTok now under Hobbit Garden, which was a complete accident, and people paid attention to it, so now I'm stuck doing it. So that's over on TikTok at Hobbit Garden. My favorite part about this was probably sitting back and forth going, this is all legitimate and we're not doing anything illegal for about 2 minutes. And I guess losing Mav.
Oh man. Yeah, that's going to be that'll be interesting.
The answer, what do you do with a drunken sailor, is apparently give them therapy.
Yes.
But yeah, a lot of fun tonight.
Yay. Excellent. And finally over to Alyssa.
This was so much fun. My name is Alyssa. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Shawltails. And the next time you will be able to see me on stream will be Saturday night at what time? 7 p.m. Eastern on Chaotic Tiefling ATL for their monthly What Streams May Come. They are doing a dramatic reading of Hamlet, and I will be reading the part of the Fresh Prince of Denmark himself. So yeah, and then back here hopefully next week.
Excellent. Did you have any other final thoughts? Or
Yes, I am very excited to figure out what we have just found in dark hyperspace.
Yes.
And hopefully it will be good things and not just ruin my relationship with Coil.
Hopefully not. Yeah, it's one of those things. I think he told you that there was a missing expedition. I don't think he told you who was on it. I think that might be the one thing that he hasn't said. And so that was. But at the same time, he's not looking for it. He's just wanting to see what's there, and so he's more looking for a place than anything else. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Awesome. Did you have anything else or?
It was all very good, and there was so much fun story stuff happening. I'm just very much looking forward to seeing how everything gets resolved.
Me too, definitely. All right, well, that leaves me. I will say my favorite part of tonight was just Mav becoming everybody's therapist. Because not only becoming therapist to this wrecker that we were meeting with the horrible reputation, becoming therapist to this entire group of pirates, and possibly, the pirate queen. That was awesome. That was brilliant. That was glorious. But what is happening here? Well, I'm Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on both Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I have links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and various other things. Let's see, what is happening? So on Friday night, with any luck, provided the stars are in the correct position, I will be continuing my guest spot over on Wandering DM, playing in their Cyberpunk Red game. That's the thing that I haven't been able to talk about up until quite recently. That's the thing happening on Fridays, is I'm playing Cyberpunk. I'm playing a fixer type who basically was a media type previously who wrote bad. So that's been fun setting that character up, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it. On Saturday nights here on this channel, we play Invisible Sun, the campaign I'm running, The Edge of Paradox. They're actually stumbling across the plot and doing stuff with the plot. It's amazing. Somehow. And yet somehow they also managed to make the whole thing about bringing brunch to the town, which is very important to these particular Vizsla, at least the idea of... They're in a very simple town where they have 3 square meals a day. They sat down at this restaurant and used magic to change the menu. Was the most magic they ever used together at one time, and they used it to be able to get brunch. So that's the number of times reality gets broken on that show is basically our counter that says days since last reality shift is always at 0, basically. So it's a lot of fun. And then of course, and that's pretty much for this coming week. That's it until we come back around to Wednesday. As we don't have I don't have anything on Tuesday night this coming week. I don't think, probably not. As I'm going to need a little time to get. We're going to have Urban Shadows coming back, but I got to get everything in gear. So that's going to be happening sometime soon. But in any case, that being the case, when we hit the end card, I see that I see it looks like Dingo is actually streaming right now, doing stuff with miniatures. So we must go and raid. Hopefully, still will be by the time we get over there. We're going to go say hi to her. Feel free to hang on if you're so inclined and say hi to her with us. That, again, will be when we hit the end card. In the meantime, folks, thank you all very much for watching. Take care, and we will catch you next time. Farewell.